Boom! Hello and welcome to the Executive Protection Lifestyle Podcast with your host, Byron Rodgers. This podcast is dedicated to the executive protection practitioner, the private security professional. In this podcast, we're going to talk about the mental, emotional, psychological, physiological fitness that goes into being an efficient and effective executive protection agent. Whether you're in law enforcement, whether you're a mom that's looking at how to protect her children, or a father that's focused on how to protect his family, I believe this podcast has something for all of you. We might even get into some tales from the crypts of true Hollywood stories from time to time. I'm doing this podcast because I feel the reality of this job is simple. If you really want to be good at executive protection, it's more than just a job. It really is a lifestyle. And those of you who've been in the game for any serious amount of time, you already know what I'm saying is true. So if that sounds interesting to you, enjoy the show. Out. Boom, what's up, y'all? Yo, I'm back at it again. I've got Daniel Shaw, who I'm going to do some stuff with right now. So if you happen to be on, this is like a little blitz. I'm saying if you happen to be on, we're about to do a live podcast episode. Pop, 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 pop. Right now, I'm just getting the GarageBand queued up. So what I'm going to try to do once he lets me know he's good to go is there's this new feature on Facebook where you can bring a guest in from like where they're at, so then you can do like a live recording like from where you're at. Turn this metronome off. We're not making music here. All right, we're in it to win it. Boom. So, how'd you guys like the last one, man? Let's get some feedback on that. Yosef from Emergence, he's the man. He's awesome. Awesome people to work with. His training's good stuff. I threw the link up to that other podcast in the group. And I think by now you guys realize you're going to be getting content first inside the group. You guys are going to be getting access to all the content first, so invite your friends. We're still like the fastest executive protection, fastest growing group in the party. So we're taking over the world. He's gonna be ready in like 2 seconds. I gotta make sure I'm ready. So how you guys liking everything? How you guys liking the live tapings of the podcast and all that stuff? How's that all working out? What are you guys thinking? Oh, here's a good question. Are there any guests you guys want to see, like anyone, industry leaders, or just really good agents that you guys want to see, that you guys think really have something to contribute to the podcast? Like, I'm down for anything. Like, you don't have to be famous to be, there's so many good operators out there in the game. Hey, baby, let me know if there's any issues with the reception and stuff. This is my home office, so this is my world. But there's so many operators that are good out there, and there's so many folks that are just good folks to learn from in the EP game. People with different experiences, different varying experiences and things like that. People with different varying experiences and things like that we want to learn from. That would be great, to have on. So just let me know, check. Let me know if you guys know of anybody that you think would be good to come kick it with us, or that the group could learn from. Hey, what's going on, Jay? Paul, what's up? Good to see you, sir. Boom. I got my questions right here. Because, really what we're just trying to do is just unearth the best information, the best principles about what it is we do, and contribute those to the industry. We want to bring the average up, bring it up as much as we can. And like I said last night, my goal is to make it sure that practitioners of security, I want the world to look at us with the same amount of respect they look at any other, job where someone might be willing to give their life and things like that, because I really do believe, the name Executive Protection Lifestyle. I didn't just pick that name because it sounded cool to me. You might hate it. I picked that name because I really do believe that in order to be really good at what it is we do, this really is more than just a job. To be good at this, it really does require a lifestyle from you. You know what I mean? Your rituals from the moment you wake up to the moment that you go to bed, like your life really revolves around doing what we do and living in a place where, you're planning for what may happen. You know what I'm saying? So you're living in a world where, maybe nothing does happen, but you're living for what may happen. I'm sitting here and I just got back from another detail this morning. And that's all we're doing, we're setting up a rampart. We're setting up defenses against, the coulds, woulds, and shoulds. And, I threw a post up on my Instagram this morning about it. And it's funny, if you're really good at what you do and nothing ever happens, it can be kind of, demonstrating value for us can be kind of cumbersome, because if you're really good at what you do, many times people don't even realize the amount of mitigation that you're already doing for them. You know what I mean? A lot of times folks don't really know how to realize or appreciate something that they don't experience, they don't see. There's an issue, you deal with it long before the client sees it, and it's hard for them to be like, oh, okay, well, Byron and his guys stop this from happening, or stop that from happening, or pull that thing off of social media, and local law enforcement did a knock and talk, and boom, 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 boom. You give them a report and things like that, but it's not visceral. You know what I'm saying? And you never want it to be visceral. So then you got to fight the accountant at the end of the day when they're like, you know what, maybe we should downsize. You're like, But one of the things that most of you know, but I'll say is, to try to continually demonstrate that value, we focus on contributing through efficiency in terms of helping the workflow of that client's life, in terms of helping and with concierge for that client's life, in terms of helping just having a good attitude, being a pillar in that client's life where you're the solid guy that's the go-to. Because at the end of the day, you heard me say on the last podcast, I'll say it again, security is everything. What do you have if you don't have security? What do you have if you don't have security? Nothing. What does any organization have if they don't have security, whether they realize it or not? You know what I mean? So I really feel like the buck stops with us when it comes to 90% of what any organization or family or whatever everyone's doing. Because at the end of the day, if you're next to your client when it goes wrong, we all already know, you're going to be the one who's going to have to pay for it, fix it, get the ball rolling again. So that's kind of that's our world, man. That's what we do. That's where we come from. That's the game, So being able to roll with those punches and being able to be flexible with that is big. Don't worry, guys. I got Daniel Shaw. He's on his way. And we're gonna, if this Facebook thing works, we're gonna go live and shoot another live podcast recording and Q&A. And don't worry, I'm not shooting all of them on here. Before I even drop the first Executive Protection Lifestyle podcast, I'm going to have at least 10 of them already made. And I'm about at 10 now. I'll probably have 15 of them already dialed in with me on certain topics and principles and various industry professionals. But also, if you guys have subject matter you want me to talk about, throw it in the comments below, and I will, especially when I do my solo ones, or if it's something that I have a certain professional who's coming on who's good with, I'll be sure to bring them on or add them, and we can run it that way. You know what, I can use Zoom, boom, and I can make sure and get you guys the content that you guys want to get. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you guys get everything that it is that you are looking for. So once Daniel joins us, hey, what's up, David? Good to see you, brother. We'll kick this bad boy off. Marco, it's so true. The accountant is always the one who throws a wrench in the game. Yeah, it is, man. God bless him, It is, though. You got to watch out for the accountants. And, it goes back to social dynamics, too, man. If there's one guy that I'm treating with respect, If there's one guy that like needs something, that I get it done. If there's one guy I'm fighting to win over in the game, like in the whole social ecosystem I'm in, when I'm in the King's Palace in a security detail, it's the accountant. Yo, because I know like today he might love me, but tomorrow we might be enemies. And never like, you know, aggressively, but I'm always just like, I'm always just doing good things for him. And anytime I do something, like if I'm gonna make a decision or spend any money or do anything like that, you know, I always make sure to like show him, hey, you know, because of these contacts I have with this organization, I'm saving us this much money. Like the email that goes out when we like buy tasers or do whatever, like it's totally one where I'm like, yo, we're saving this much money. We have a contact here. We're grabbing these, you know, and so I'm always demonstrating value in terms of being financially conscientious and showing them that, hey, me and my guys, we're actually saving you money to get this job done. Like that's like a constant communication, and they appreciate that. You know what I mean? Because you know, I mean, with your department and the budget and all the stuff you're doing, you just gotta make sure that's the way you come across. You know, or it's just a matter of time. Because people like to think you're getting a free ride, and then when you're the agent or you're the guy who's next to their boss, they're just gunning for you. It's human nature. People start gunning for you. You know, like they start thinking that you think you're all that. They start thinking that you think you're special because you get to hang out with the boss, and that's not. That's not the case. Hopefully, but with some EP guys, it is the case. Those guys put a bad taste in the mouths of everyone that the rest of us have to fight. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's a thing. Yeah, you know, that is a thing. But yeah, any questions you guys have about executive protection, any professionals you guys want to hear about, let me know. I'll get them here by popular demand. See, I mean, while we wait, I had some EP topics I was thinking about maybe hitting on another podcast. That I can start just flowing with here. Well, also while we wait, man, a word to the sponsors. We have just a word to my sponsors. You know, the people that you know believe in me and are sending over you know, coupon codes and stuff for us. We have Primary Weapon Systems. These guys are awesome, and actually Daniel's tied in with them too. I believe they make the best rifles on the market. My AR pistol never, ever has problems. It's phenomenal stuff. Go visit their website, Primary Weapon Systems, and throw my name in, Byron, for 10% off. 10% off on a $1,500 rifle is considerable. So, you know, that's dinner or something, depending on your zip code. So, that's good stuff. I have grown to where I will have to have the opportunity. Storage almost full. You can manage your storage in settings. Wonder if I should do that before we even get started. I'm trying to see this entire comment here. Thomas. Let's see here. I'll pull up your comment on my... I'm going to pause this recording. Pull your comment up on Facebook. And see what we got here. I've grown to where I will have the opportunity to work overseas in 2019. What are some important things you have to have in your... What are some important things you have to have in your opinion? Oh man. Okay, Daniel just got in. That's a good question. I might have Daniel comment on that because I know he does do a lot of that. And I mean, are you working as a contractor or are you working executive protection? Justin, let me know. And let's see. Oh, it's moving around. Let's see here. Daniel Shaw. Adding. This should be good. I've never done this before. This is pretty exciting. EP. Okay. Yo, what's up?
What's up, buddy? How you doing?
I'm good, man. Can everyone hear? Awesome. That is what's up. I like this, man. I think this is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty easy, man. I like easy.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
Heck yeah. So now Facebook is getting into Skype's neighborhood, it seems like. I mean, this is kind of like...
They're taking over the world.
They are taking over the world. They sure are. Cool.
So what do we got going on here?
Right now, man, I've just been kind of live hanging out with everyone. I got a fun question. I guess we'll get back to it. Thomas was asking about overseas contracting. I've done some overseas work. And have you done all that stuff too? Okay.
No. Okay. Well, not outside of the military.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, I'll definitely touch on that. But yeah, man, how you been? You were saying you got your hands in a lot of different things.
Yeah, I've always got my hands in a lot of different things.
What's going on in your world, brother?
Man, right now I'm well, this is my house right here behind me.
Yeah.
I live in an RV. Me and the wife and the boy travel around all the time. Last year we just traveled around, filmed a little web series, and taught a lot of classes and took a lot of training classes. Yeah, I've been working on trying to figure out how to get paid just to have fun and not have a real job. So I travel around and I teach, and that does well. I took some time off, about a year, to go to film school at University of Miami. So I just finished that. That was I already have a bachelor's degree, so I wanted to go get better at film because I kept doing a lot of stuff in film. So I went down there. University of Miami let a dumb grunt like myself in. That was crazy. It was an awesome experience, man. I learned a lot and I had a great time. Go Canes. Then we were planning on moving to Texas. We never lived in Texas. That's on the list of places we need to live for a little while. Yeah. And my mom passed away a few months ago. And we decided to come up here and park next to my dad and help him try to learn how to be a real person now that he's by himself. So we're here in North Carolina, just kind of parked next to my dad's place, and we'll probably be out of here pretty soon and head down to Texas.
Okay, that's what's up. Yeah, no, we were kind of I mentioned this to you before, like with the EP game and with anything you do, man. I think it's real important to just try to build all parts of you. You know what I mean? Like, since the beginning of my executive protection career, I've been doing entrepreneurial stuff. I've been trying to figure out, like what I'm really here to do on this planet and find my purpose. And honestly, really, all the different side things that I did are really what sustained me through the grind of evolving into a more mature EP agent. Like, I couldn't sit here and tell you that, just this protection work is really gratifying enough for all the different compartments of me. You know what I'm saying?
No, I know exactly what you're saying, man. Right. If I actually focused on any of the one things that I do, whether it's marketing stuff or teaching firearms and defensive tactics and things of law enforcement, or what I do on the film side, or what I do in writing, if I focused on one single thing, I could make a really good living off of it. But I make a decent living, but I'm much more happy doing all of these things than I am just doing one thing.
Heck yeah. No, I agree 100%. I think we're just complex beings, man. Like, we just are, and that's how I keep my homeostasis. But also, I'll say too, all the different little things that I tried to do that didn't work, like now there's a synergy of like these skills that I know a little bit.
Yep. You pick up a lot of stuff. I learned how to code last year. Like I can write JavaScript and HTML is not really coding, but I know how to do this stuff. I can really break my websites now, and usually I can fix them. But it's that little skill. But what it did for me is not only can I Google and work through it and write some code and do something, write a program or things that I want to do. Yeah. And I'm not talking about any advanced program, but now I have an understanding of what that platform is capable of. And I have an understanding of how that can integrate into other things that I'm doing. And I find that they do integrate, and it's it's being well-rounded, man. I think it's great.
Heck yeah, man. No, I agree 100%. Let me just make sure I got my microphone on right, because I'm still learning this podcast thing now too. No,
it sounds good.
Even if it's not just getting taken advantage of by outsourcers and stuff trying to build this stuff, you know. But all right, y'all, I got Daniel Shaw here with me. He is well, me and you met a while back on your podcast, Shooter
Yep.
Podcast, and that was awesome, man. That's I mean, I'm trying to get this GarageBand thing done perfect before I really get rolling. Okay, cool. So yeah, man.
Yeah, that was a popular episode. I got a lot of comments. People loved having you on. They're like, "Man, that Byron guy was so motivating." I'm like, "Yeah, that's
Really?
what he does, man." I got quite a few messages and emails about it. People loved it. There's actually one iTunes review up there. Gunfighter Cast is the podcast. It says, "Hey, bring that Byron guy back on. He was awesome."
Awesome,
Yeah,
man.
they took the time to leave a review on iTunes, man. That's like the best compliment you can get.
Yeah, that's big, man. That's awesome. No, it was an honor being on there, man. I'll hop back on anytime, you know. And
If I start doing it again, I'm on a long break right now. It'll be back though sometime.
yeah, I mean, life is mountains and valleys, man. Mountains and valleys. But yeah, so I mean, I guess you'll probably be better at introducing yourself than I will. I know you from the industry and seeing you here and there at some events and your training with all your shot strategies and stuff like that. But the question that all executive protection guys are always wondering, it's the question that like they're always like, anytime you get on a security detail, this is like what everyone's working their way to. And on SHOT Show, we both had to deal with it all the time, more than we ever wanted to, I'm sure. But it's what's your background? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, that's how it goes down. Hey, what's your background, bro?
Yeah, it's like we're chilling in the chase. It's almost irrelevant. Like we're chilling, and then there's you want to know, you know what I mean? But then it's like, how relevant is it? But you just gotta ask. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I know they're all wondering, man. So yeah, spit it. What's your
Hey,
background,
I'm just a regular straight leg Marine grunt. I wasn't MARSOC, Force Recon, nothing like that. I did do a couple of cool things with some
What?
Force
We gotta
Recon
end the
cats
podcast. That's it.
sorry,
Yeah, right?
not awesome.
No,
Never been
okay.
awesome. But yeah, as a young Marine back in the late '90s, 1997, '98, I was we were working up for a MEU, and I got assigned to the Maritime Special Purpose Force, where you go with the Force Recon cats, and the Stay platoon was Stay back then.
Okay.
Work on precious cargo recovery, rescuing hostages, all kind of cool stuff. So I was
Okay.
young. Private Shaw and fast roping out of helicopters every day, shooting 1,000 rounds on a range, going to the shoot house. And I spent the next 16 years trying to have as much fun as I did that first 5 years, and get
Yeah.
as much training as I did that first 5 years. And I totally failed miserably because there's no chance of it. Learned a lot that first year. But I was hanging out with some really, really slick guys my
Yeah.
whole first year, and learned a lot. And it was basically because I was made a dragon gunner, and the dragon was all but obsolete.
Old
And
school
so they
dragons. That's
yeah,
what's
so they
up.
made it. They're like, hey, let's take Dragon's platoon and make them the security element for the Force Recon guys, and it was awesome, man. It was great. I've done things like that since then, but the whole system, the MSPF, or this changed now, and it's not quite what it once was, but it's still a good thing to do for Marines to get a chance to do it. Man, did a couple of deployment with that unit.
Heck yeah.
Albanians and Serbs were shooting each other. Went over there and hung out. Didn't really do much. Didn't fire my rifle or anything.
Yeah.
End up getting back, and I get sent down to Paris Island. So let me back up just a hair. So around all these super smart guys, these Force Recon cats wearing flight suits with big bellies, the
Uh-huh.
type back in the late '90s and early 2000s, kind of how everybody was.
Yeah.
But these guys would run 10 miles to your one, and they could, if they all wanted to do it, they could have been PhDs working in academia because they were
There's
super smart, man, just like
next level,
crazy
dude.
cerebral guys, but
Yeah.
you wouldn't know it. And they wouldn't let you know it. So
That's
every time
awesome.
they would talk, I would just keep my mouth shut and stand next to them
That's
and
the
just
mark.
listen with my notebook out, just taking notes.
Heck yeah.
Fast forward a year later, we get back off deployment, and they're sending a bunch of Marines down to Paris Island to be range coaches because they need Marines really bad
Okay.
down there. So I go there, go to coaches school, do really good on the range, get a couple awards for being a good coach.
Heck
I
yeah.
get made a block NCO. They weren't supposed to have any corporal block NCOs. I was corporal by then. And then the PMI section was like, we need Shaw over to PMI section. They fought for me. Battalion commanders like, no corporals allowed to be PMIs. But then they snuck me over there anyway and stuck me out at A line at the third phase training. And then they snuck me in and had me start pushing platoons without anybody knowing it because they knew I'd do good. And I did great down there and learned a lot. about the pure form marksmanship side, not tactics, not fighting with the gun, I think just pure form shooting. But what I learned mostly was how to teach. I learned how to transfer knowledge, and I learned how to transfer knowledge to people that were under stress, people that didn't care, people that did care, and to all different types of people, the homeschool kids, the Eagle Scouts, everybody was different. I started to learn that. And then I get back to the fleet. We're spinning up to go to Iraq. We all knew we were going, and I would go to 1st Battalion, 2nd Marines, and we spend a little bit of time getting ready, and I meet the gunner, and the gunner basically, after we talk a few times, has me taking guys out and running ranges. Hey, take this platoon out and do this. Go do that. Hey, we got a rifle range coming up. You need to teach this, the pre stuff before they go to the rifle range. So I was basically ended up working for the gunner outside of my own job as the assault section leader for Bravo Company. And that really pissed off my platoon commander a lot.
There's always that one guy up there who doesn't want to see you win.
He's like, "You're not special, Shaw." I'm like, "I know I'm not special, but I'm helping the gunner. I'm impacting the battalion, right?" And so I felt great about it. We deployed to Iraq, fought in the Battle of Nazaré. At the time, it was the bloodiest battle since Vietnam. Kind of a best and worst day. Did a lot of good things that day and saw a lot of bad things, but really learned a lot in that. Learned a lot about myself on that day, and then the weeks to follow and months to follow. And then we came back, did another deployment in Iraq. Horrible, miserable time in 04 and 05. I came back. I'm getting divorced, as we do often. And I was running ranges again for the gunner when we're back, getting ready. Every time we were back in the rear doing that. And next thing I know, I've got these Marines coming up to me, talking to me, asking me questions, standing next to me when me and the gunner were talking, and some of them were taking notes. And I'm like,
it's like the full circle things happening right
now. When did I become this guy? When did I become this guy that's what I was you just like 5 years ago. I was you right there. And then I realized, like, man, these guys are believing everything that I say. They're not questioning anything. That means I have to be right.
That's huge.
Like
that's responsibility.
I can't be wrong. That's a massive responsibility. So I kind of looked at what I was doing, what I was teaching, and started analyzing some stuff that the Marine Corps was teaching and wasn't liking it. And some of it I was, but some of it I wasn't. And I'm going through a divorce, and I call my monitor. I'm up for reenlistment. I'm like, hey, I'm getting out unless you can get me back to Paris Island because I need to chill for a little bit, and while I get divorced and fight for custody and this and that. And he sends me to Paris Island, like, no question. He's like, I got you, buddy, no problem.
And he actually
sends me down there.
No games, no kids.
Yeah, and I told him, like, look, I'm out unless you can get me to Paris Island. I mean, that's the only way I'm staying in. He's like, done. So I re-enlist to go down there. And I'm running the range. They assigned me. They made me push one platoon of recruits, one male platoon, one female platoon, and then they sent me to school section where I taught PMI school to drill instructors and the PMIs there. And at the time, we were transitioning to the CMT program, the Combat Marksmanship Training Program of the Marine Corps and CMC. And so the guys down from Quantico came down, spent some time with us, and we had a good time going through that whole new curriculum and learning how to teach it. And then we were one of the first people to start implementing it in the Marine Corps, that whole program. So I got really in touch with the guys up there. We would talk a lot and get a lot of things going. And I felt like there was times where I was even impacting, what the whole Marine Corps was doing because I was communicating with Quantico. And there's just a lot of cool stuff going on, man. And I was fortunate to be in the right place at the right time and want to do good things. Yeah. I was bored out of my mind. I'm giving my life story right now. I'm sorry, man.
No, it's good.
I was bored out of my mind, and I was like, man, I'm going to go to Fast Company. They go to South America and burn cocoa fields with Navy SEALs. I'll go kill bad guys. We'll be sneaking around protected CIA guys or something. And so I call my monitor. I'm like, hey, I want to put in a package to go for special duty to go to security forces and go to Fast Company. He's like, oh, man, you just got there. You only been there a year. I was like, well, everything's good now. Like, can you go there? He's like, well, I got to hand you over to the B-billet recruiter and let him, or the monitor, and let him handle it. And but I'll put in a good word. Next thing you know, I got orders to security forces, and I'm going. And I'm up in Chesapeake, Virginia, and I go through the school and I'm helping these Marines. The people who teach security forces school from every MOS, they're not all infantrymen. They've not all been in fights. They've not all been in touch with some of the things that I tried to stay on the cutting edge of as far as information. And I was helping out the Marines in my class. There was another sergeant in the class that I was about 2 years a senior, but I acted like I wasn't. I was like, I didn't want to be class commander. I was like, you handle that stuff. So I was helping these guys like crazy on the range, anything had to do with weapons, and I was teaching them. And I would actually show some of the instructors a few things, very politely. I'm still a student. They're sergeants and staff sergeants. and they're calling out names and who are you going, like so and so. You're going to Navy Nuke Protection at Kings Bay. So and so, 8th and I. So and so, second fast. Shaw, go see First Sergeant. And I'm like, am I in trouble? Did I do something? Like, did I come back on a background check? I haven't done anything bad.
Yeah,
You know, but I might have missed a couple of payments on a few things, like every other lance criminal, right? So I go down and see First Sergeant. He's like, Shaw, you're staying here at Security Forces. You're going to be a weapons instructor. Or you're staying here at the training school. You're going to be a weapons instructor. I was like, I just left a place where I was a weapons instructor to come shoot bad guys with Fast Company. You know, and you're making me a weapons. He's like, well, we need you here. You do a good job. I heard a lot of good things, blah, blah, blah. So next thing you know, I'm there. A couple months go by. I get promoted to staff sergeant. Finally, that's a long another story. Then they end up restructuring a few things, and I'm a weapons team leader. So now I have got 8 Marines, sergeants and corporals. They're my team, and we take every single group that comes through basic security guard. My team or another weapons team will pick them up halfway through and run them through about a 4-week weapons package that covers everything from Beretta 9mm to heavy machine guns. And I'm working on helping develop that heavy machine gun program. And so we put all this stuff together, and I redid a lot of the curriculum. I hate dealing with training education command and doing course content review stuff. It's like getting stuff done, even though it's great information. It's you know, it's like a camel, you know, a horse designed by the committee, and it just turns into something horrible, and it loses its meat that it needed to have.
Yeah.
But this is where I changed. You know, this is where I really figured out what I was going to do with my life, man. Or at least partly what I was going to do. I'm still trying to figure that out. I had my own range, and I would call up an armorer and say, "Hey, man, can you bring me a 9mm down and you know, about 2,000 rounds of 9mm ammo?" And he would bring that down, and I would shoot drills, and I would test things all day. I would do that with a rifle, and I got to shoot. I got to spend taxpayer dollars on the range, doing R&D, shooting, trying different things, different techniques, different things I saw. The internet was starting to pick up with some stuff on YouTube. This was 05, 06, 07. I ended up leaving there at the end of 09. And man, I learned that there was so much more that I needed to learn. I didn't know anything about guns.
Yeah.
I had been teaching and carrying a gun professionally for about 10 years. And I realized I didn't know anything about it. And then I kept working, went to Okinawa for a little bit, trying to figure out what I was going to do. I retired and I started my own company and started traveling around teaching. I was busy all the time. And I got a new company now, doing the same thing. But that's what I do is travel. My main source of income is traveling around teaching. There's a lot of work that goes into that behind the scenes, but I love it. I enjoy it. I don't love the business side of it, but I love impacting people. I actually got a chance a couple years ago when I was working for Thunderbird, a company out in Kansas. Marines contacted me, an old Marine buddy of mine, and I went up to Camp David and taught Marines up there. I had a beard and everything, and I'm on Camp David teaching Marines. It was awesome, man. It was so cool. I got to influence Marines again, man, and
that's just
it was
when
just a
you're
great
around
time.
your brothers. It's like it's like this kindred spirit, you know, hanging around out with other Marines, man. It's just like
it's quick, man. It happens fast. Yeah. So I that's where I kind of developed my mentality and realized that I don't know much. I started my podcast around then when I was in security forces in Chesapeake, and it kind of led to one of those things that I say now on in public and in my classes is I've been wrong about so many things in my life. I have taught with vigor, like I was excited about it. I believed it 100% in something that was wrong. And I've preached something that was wrong, and I did it for a long time because I didn't know any better, or it wasn't even my fault. It was, then new information arrived that wasn't available before, and I've changed my mind about those things. I can give you tons of examples of things that I've changed about that have changed in my classes and what I teach right now because I'm not so ingrained in my curriculum. I believe that I tell my students, like I have been wrong so many times in my past that there is no way I can possibly be right today. I am probably going to teach you things. I know I'm going to teach you things that are wrong. I'm going to come back to you in 2 years from now and say, remember that thing? That was wrong. Here's a better way to do it.
Great?
But I believe that I am more right than I've ever been.
Oh boy. That was good. Now I think we're frozen. Boom. I believe that you're more right than you've ever been. That's where you were.
Yeah. No, that's it, man. That's
Yeah.
there's my life story and how I got to this point right now.
You know, I knew you would do the introduction better than I would, man. That was fantastic. That was
It might have
motivating
went a
for me
little
to
long.
listen to. Nah, but it was good, man. It's like, I mean, I have had a lot of those moments too, bro. Like, you know, when I first started hanging out with my silly Villian friends, and where were we getting ready to go to shoot a competition, and one of them was like, "Oh, so you're gonna learn how to shoot a gun?" And I was like, "Talking about shooting a gun? I'm a United States. Do you understand? I'm a combat veteran, United States Marine." Came there looking like just a garage sale, worst
Yeah,
gear, just shit. Just it was so embarrassing. I just was quiet all day, bro.
yeah.
14-year-old
Man,
girls smoke checking me on all the
yep,
stages, like, and I was just like, this ain't gonna
yep.
be how it is.
And that's really just the shooting part.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
just the shooting part. There's so many more layers to this.
Oh yeah.
Man, I run into people all the time when I'm talking to them when they ask me what I do. I'm like, oh yeah, I know how to shoot. I'm like, well, why don't you come out to the class? You do that. Oh no, I said I already know how to shoot. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
we're probably
That's
talking about
difficult.
two different types of shooting here,
Oh
right?
yeah.
And like
Yeah.
I'm trying to be really nice about it, but then
Yeah.
they come out, or somebody does come out. Like my family does it. I don't know what they pictured that I did. My dad was in a class last
Uh-huh.
weekend out in Kansas, and he watched my rifle class before that, and then one of my nephew came to a class about a month ago, and
Mhm.
I just saw it like in the middle of it. He was just looking at me. My nephew was like,
What?
I never knew this is what you were doing. Like I guess they thought I was just standing there teaching somebody how to load a gun and unload it and shoot it. But
Yeah.
like I teach people to fight with guns, man, and there's a lot that
Yeah.
goes into that, and
Heck yeah.
it gets pretty intense. And people usually don't, unless they've been exposed to a high level class like that, you know, or in high intensity class, then they don't really know what we're doing. I don't believe they've actually ever really tested themselves either.
That's true. That's so true, man. I mean, if just the first layer of going to a shooting competition is enough to scare most people away, you can
Yeah.
only imagine. I mean, we got women and children doing this stuff. You know what I mean? Like, let alone like combatants. You know, like I'm on a detail and I'm like, hey guys, let's go. Getting guys to go to the range with you, as you said, is difficult. I'm talking about on a security detail. You know, because everyone likes to rest on their laurels. You know, and that's what I did for a while. And then I went to that match and started shooting with my civilian friends and got my eyes open up. Being, you know, infantry marine, we do most all we did was pistol. I mean, was a rifle anyway. So I was retarded when it came to
No,
pistol.
Marines suck with handguns.
Like I qualified like twice in my life, you know. So
I shot expert.
yeah, leave me alone, and that's nothing. Like what you know, like I mean, that's a whole nother like
That reminds
topic.
me of Chris Rock skit. He's like, brothers always want like recognition for shit they ought to be doing anyway, right? Like, oh, I
Yeah,
shot expert. Well, you supposed to shoot expert. I
yeah,
think
right.
it's so easy to shoot expert. That's not even
Yeah,
you're not even tested on the range on
no,
this
you're
ball.
not, and you're not
Cops are
like
the same way. Cops are the same way. I'm training more and more law enforcement officers every year,
yeah,
and with a few different organizations and some agencies, and the ones that chief makes them come or the sheriff makes them come, like go to training, or some captain says, hey, you're going to be at this training, they're absolutely horrible. Horrible. And what they do for training, and the ones who do train hard, they come out there and put in work that you can tell they put in work on their own dime, on their own time. Um, they are so frustrated because all their departments do is shoot quals just for insurance stuff and liability and all that.
yep,
And these guys are like, man, there's people that I'll be in something serious and I'll call for backup, and then I'll hear certain people respond, and I'll go ahead and cancel backup because I don't want them arriving and have to draw a gun.
ah,
That's scary, man.
that's
That's
scary.
scary and that's
That's
sad. Like
yeah,
as a community, you know, if I were a law enforcement officer or if I were an executive protection guy,
yeah,
you know, I try to do what I do as a whole in the community. I don't believe there's any mortal man that should be able to tell me if I can or can't carry a gun or what hoops I should jump through to
right,
carry a gun. But I do believe that us as a community need to inspire each other to get training. There's a lot of morons out there carrying guns that have no business carrying guns. You probably
yeah,
got some in your field. You know,
yeah,
and again, there's been plenty of Marines around me that were that way. We have to hold
100%.
each other to the standard. I think if someone's trusting their life to you, then you have lost the right to be out of shape.
Yeah,
You have lost the right to not know how to use your gear, whether that's a flashlight, a gun, a taser, your handcuffs, whatever it is. If you are not extremely proficient with those things, you're wrong. You've
You're
lost the
wrong.
right
You're
to
wrong.
suck
You're
at life.
Yeah, no,
Yep.
100%. And you're the most dishonorable type of operator among us, man. The most dishonorable type. And that's something that, I always try to push home. It's like, yo, every single time you leave your house with your firearm to go on ahead and try to protect somebody and really stand and like hold the line between good and evil, the innocent and the not innocent, man. You're writing a blank check. And for me, I work multiple security details every single day. Almost of the week, I'll go 2 to 3 weeks without sleeping in, but I still find time to get to the range, or at least once, sometimes twice a week, or at least shoot a competition, or do something to make sure I'm maintaining my skill sets. Because if I find myself in a fair fight and I lose, it's the most shameful thing that can happen. You know what I mean? There's people dependent on you. So I agree 100%.
Best time to go to the range, Byron. It's I go long days and I try to wear them out by the end of the day.
Yeah.
Because when you get into something,
Uh-huh.
when the law enforcement officer out there watching is getting into something, when a military guy gets into something, he's tired, man. It's the end of the shift. It's almost over. It's people have dropped their guard down a little bit. We're wore out. That's when we have to fight. That's when we need to be able to fight.
That's when you need
So that's when we should train.
That's what exactly, man. You got me. That's what you've got to train, man. And that's one thing the Marine Corps was good at. They're good at getting you tired and then throwing an extra lap in there. You're running right past the spot. They're like, "Woo, we're there," and you take another lap. And
that develops the mental toughness, man.
Yeah.
I used to. I mean, I when I was in security forces, I'd take these young Marines. These kids were 18, 19 years old. And we'd go on a run, and I could tell they were looking around. I'd be in the office. I'd be like, "Hey, are they looking for me?" And like, "Yeah, they're looking for you. They're wondering if you're coming," because they know if I'm going to come run with them or go to this hike down to the range or whatever we're doing, that they all have better PFTs than me. Every single one of them have better PFTs than me. But I would be behind the guy, or I'd tell one of the guys, like, "Hand me that 240." "No, Staff Sergeant." Like, I told you to hand me that 240. Like, he knows what I'm not going to run when Marines are carrying 240s, and I'm not carrying a 240. Yeah. So I throw a 240 on my shoulder, and we just go ahead and knock out 2 miles, And whenever they're all strung out, it's like a drive-by shooting back there. Then they will turn around, pick them up, and like that's, and they would all blow me away on a PFT, but they couldn't beat me mentally, And I got to, the Marine Corps, I got to show them every day.
You got to,
every
man.
Day.
Every single day. I remember Sergeant Rios was that guy for me, man. And it was like your heart would just melt inside your chest when you see this dude come out and walk to the front of formation. He was a machine gunner.
He's going to kill us.
We're going to die a slow death today. And he'd walk up and he would just, this dude was like a legend. He would just take a 240 from the guy at the front, give it a 240. And he'd have a dip in.
Yeah,
he'd do this thing with his lips, and he'd like, "Give me this 240." He'd grab it, and I forget what nationality he was. He's brown, man, and he'd just take that thing, whack, throw it on the back of his back, and we'd start marching. And as you're marching for the first couple minutes, you're like, "Yo, maybe we're just gonna march it out.
This is gonna be all right."
Yeah, like, we'll just pitter patter, march it out back, and then he'd be like, double time, and it was over, bro. And you'd never catch up with him, and you just see the back of his feet, man. He would just, boom, blaze off, and we'd just die back there. You just knew you couldn't stop running. You better just keep running,
Yeah.
That's good stuff, man. It sounds like your path has been like, you're so blessed to have had that time at the range where you could just learn and create.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And also, like, I love to hear the kind of the empty glass, man. The way that you're like, look, I've been wrong, I live wrong, I do wrong, and hey, I'm here to learn and give the most accurate value. Thank you, babe. Most accurate value as I can, and evolve. You know what I'm saying? Like you're constantly evolving. Yep. I think, I'm with you 100% on that. What would you say now, the age of information has us all connected? You know what I'm saying? And so we have all these sensational gurus and teachers and things like that and instructors that are coming out in the game, man. What trait or what would you say people should look for in instructors these days? Because, like, they're everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, what types of things? Is there a mark? Is there a mentality? Is there something to help guys get good training? Is there a background? I don't know, how would you approach that equation if you were just getting into like, hey, maybe I'm a law enforcement guy, I want to get some training, or maybe I'm a civilian, I'm fresh, and I'm like, I need to learn how to use a gun. American culture is changing. I need to take my own protection into my own hands. What kind of advice would you give someone like that?
There's a lot of good trainers out there, a lot of them. There's a lot of bad trainers out there. And when I say bad, I'm talking about the ones who are unsafe. Those are the worst. Those are dangerous. I hate the unsafe instructors or race to the bottom. Let's get a video of the most dangerous, stupid drill possible, just so people will be like, yo, I'm going to go sign up for that class. It's just ridiculous. It's dangerous. They have and they will continue to hurt people. But then there's bad instructors that you can still pick up some things from, but it may not be worth the money and the time you put into it.
Yeah.
And I find last year I traveled around, took a lot of classes. And I took a lot of classes when I was in certain areas, and I just looked around and Googled and found a class at this range, or these people, this group of guys that I'd never heard of, but they're all in the military or something, or were in the military, and they have a rifle class. So I jumped in a few of these classes with instructors nobody's ever heard of. And I had 3 of them to be exact. If you count this year, I've got about 7 altogether with people that nobody's ever heard of. And I find that they're all doing the same thing. And I've got a theory that the reason some people out there have heard of me, and they've heard of Jeff Gonzalez, Steve Fisher, obviously Travis and Chris, and a bunch of other guys. The reason that a lot of those guys, their names is they're doing more than just calling drills on the range. So these classes, what they all had in common with these instructors that I didn't know, and I gave them all a little write-up, and I sat and talked to them afterwards. But not like I'm trying to be some awesome guru. I want to help people, man. I want to reach more people.
Yeah.
I think I killed a lot of bad guys indirectly because of what I taught Marines, and that helps me sleep well at night. That's so I think every time, and I think every time an armed citizen, right? Every time a citizen gets a little bit more well-regulated in the U.S. and gets a little bit more training, I think it makes my country safer, makes my community safer. I think it helps. I think it helps us protect the Second Amendment because we've got less stupid people out there because they're now more smarter and more educated. So this doesn't.
With this brand,
this stuff.
Go ahead. Well, no,
this stuff doesn't.
With this brand, I'm on the same page, man. Like, I want to help the executive protection practitioner, one, restore a lot of honor to our field, because I think a lot of people have kind of really drug the things that we stand for through the mud, and we've been misrepresented in a lot of ways. What's up, Luke? Good to see you, bro. And I think a lot of people don't take this as seriously because it's not as heavily regulated and things like that. But with every person such as yourself, or with every podcast, or in every single way that I think this brand can contribute to the executive protection field, or even just the protection industry with regards to training our citizenship, our citizenry here in America, or even around the world, I think we're making the world a better place in our own warrior way. You know what I'm saying? Like we're like warriors doing good warrior deeds. You know what I'm saying? If someone doesn't get smoked, dodges something, mitigates something, or, survives an altercation because of the information that we're injecting into society, man, this is the stuff that motivates me, man. When I hear you say that, that's awesome. So
So taking this kind of, and this is totally not even with your question altogether about what's good training and or who's good and everything, but with that same line of thought, so we have to educate each other more, and this doesn't belong to me. I want to give it all out, which is what inspired me to start learning about film. I want to do things for the firearms industry and film, and I have done a lot of things for years for the firearms industry and film, but I want to sneak into Syria and catalog the Assad regime, like the first white guy who reports there. I want to do some crazy stuff that I think most journalists, I'm not a journalist, don't have the balls to do. Yeah. I want to go. I've seen some horrible things. I know you have
journalism.
I've seen some things on this planet that I think if a lot of people out there had experienced the same things that I have and seen the same things I have, they probably would think about things a little bit differently in life. And I want to figure out how to show them those things. And that's a lot of film and documentary stuff. And not even just, it could be fiction. It could be a book, it could be a story. So I'm in grad school right now. I introduced myself at the beginning of classes. I have a bunch of SWAT cops out here. I'm like, hey guys, I'm Daniel. I'm a liberal arts student. Because I'm a liberal arts student. Yes. And they all look at me like I'm crazy. But I
Yeah,
came
yeah, for sure.
almost, and I hated high school, but I love college. So I'm learning so much all the time with undergrad and grad school and everything else. But I'm at a
Heck yeah.
point now where I want to get better at film, and I want to get the time to do that. I need some dollars, right, to get to do the things that I want to do. But
Yeah,
I'm finding that I think this is not the right thing. This isn't the right medium for this, but the executive protection podcast, and we're talking about guns and shooting stuff. But I think the most powerful thing that can happen, or that I can teach somebody, is how to write. Teaching a Marine who has severe PTSD how to express himself creatively could save his life.
yeah,
Executive protection guy.
yeah.
Um,
I think
Teaching
that's
someone
so
how to
important.
read and write and learn could help them, and how to actually be analytical on
Yeah,
everything that they encounter. Being a better writer makes you better at life. How
yep,
you're analyzing, yeah, it makes you a better arguer. You're
yep,
not going to get somebody, like scam you on something. You're seeing right through everything,
yeah,
because I can argue on paper with the best of them, and I can argue them, and I love arguing. It's like one of my favorite things to do.
yeah.
We'll be best friends,
It's
but I
exciting.
love to argue.
Yeah,
And man, it bothers me that there's people who don't know these things, these simple things. They can't analyze the rest of life because they don't have the basic skills to be
skill
analytical,
sets.
and reason. Yep.
Yeah,
So
100%
good
on that
trainers.
Marine Corps on that
Um,
writing thing. Well, real quick on that writing thing, bro. I'm 100% with you, man. Like, I wrote that book, Finding Meaning After the Military, for a reason, man. Fortunately, I just got into blogging back then, and I remember like one of the bloggers that I was following was like, "Yo, let's do this 100-day podcast, this 100-day writing challenge, and start writing." And I mean, it just helps you, just the way you're thinking, the way you're deconstructing like everything around you, and you have to regurgitate it. But it's like a highly effective form of therapy,
yep.
and I think it is pertinent to
Oh
the
yeah.
whole executive protection lifestyle thing because yo, these are skill sets that are going to make you a better human. And the better of a human you are, the better you're going to be at whatever your chosen endeavor is, really. You know what I mean? Like, um, so writing helped me process all my trash, helped me process all my Iraq stuff. And then I started to like write all my like little bit of stuff inside of me. And I started to be like, yo, I don't have anything inside of me. You know what I mean? Like, I've been listening to like heavy metal and like taking over country, like doing Marine Corps stuff and like what like what is inside you, you know? Like I remember I was listening to some rap music and I was like, I can turn this trash off. Like this is not like, and then I started to really be like, yo, the quality of the information I'm taking in, like, hey, you know, like how are you gonna contribute, bro? Like to life. Yeah, I mean, like what are people gonna know
Yep.
you for? Like you just want to be like you
Dude,
want
my
all
wife will
the
come in here later on, and
yeah,
she'll turn the TV on, and she's
yeah,
getting a lot better at this. And I'm
yeah,
in North Carolina, so I'll say bless her heart, right? That's what they say around
yeah,
here. She's getting a
yeah. I
lot
say
better in
God
this,
bless.
and that woman puts up with a lot of stuff with me. But she'll turn the TV on, and it'll go to like some news channel. Like she'll
Yeah,
crank it up, and she'll flip through, and it'll be on Fox News, and I'm like, I'm over here trying to do something. Like I got headphones in, I'm listening to an audio book. I'm writing something. The audio book is on, like, I don't know, but something to make me smarter. And I'm over here
yeah,
working on something else. And then here's somebody on the TV telling me what I need to be pissed off about. Somebody telling me
and
that like
scared
this is
of.
the worst thing ever and it's horrible and the world's
Yeah,
gonna end. And make
yeah,
sure you're mad about
yeah,
this. Make sure you're angry. All right, be pissed off about this
yeah,
and go do this. And like tell me how to think, how to breathe, how to eat, how to be,
yeah,
what I should or should not be pissed about, what I should accept and what I
yeah.
shouldn't accept. Hey,
Mhm.
this little boy is doing this on the internet. Have you seen the new video of the transgender kid? You know, like you
Yeah,
should think this is awesome, and if you don't, you're a horrible person. Screw you. I can think whatever I want. I'm a free person, and I can
exactly.
articulate that in writing and with
Yeah,
my mouth what I think and why I think that. And I can
yeah,
back it up with historical evidence because I'm a pretty dang
yeah,
smart guy, and I don't need that TV
yeah.
telling me what to be pissed off about. I've got a lot more problems to deal with because
Like real quality problems.
I'm nowhere near where I want to be. I want to solve the
Right.
world's problem. I want to bring
Yeah,
reality and life people to see what it's like in third world countries to people in the U.S. You know that
yeah,
worship the
yeah,
Kardashians. You know, like
yeah,
I want people to realize like what when they say first world problems, like what that really means. You know, it's
yeah.
I want to do a lot of things that I'll probably never get to do. But what I am going to do,
But you
Byron,
got to try, man.
is I'm gonna get up every day. It sounds
Heck
like I'm a
yeah.
motivational speaker.
No,
I'm gonna
you
get
are,
up every day and I'm gonna put in work. And
yeah,
one day I'm gonna die. And my
yeah.
goal is that when I die, they have to rent out the Superdome or like some big massive stadium
Yeah.
because so many people want to come pay their respects at my funeral.
Yep.
That's what I want to get done, because I impacted positively so many lives. They have to just get half the planet, you know, to be my funeral service. Like, that's
Dude,
what I want to do.
you're touching on the principles, man, that I live by. Like, live your life for a moment, man. Like, I live my life to die. You know, I live my life like that. Vision you were just talking about is like what wakes you the freak up. Like, people are like, Byron, how are you going to bed at waking up at 4 a.m. every morning? Yo, that same moment you're talking about, man. Like, I'm training myself for a moment when my client might need me, my family might need me, when those around me might need me to live my legend and be the person that I need to be to protect them, to say the right thing, to take action, maybe not to take action. You know what I mean? Like, all those moments. And so I'm training my mind, my body, my spirit, my emotions at all times for those moments. And you know what? It pays off. You know, when you're in
Mm-hmm.
your car with your client, you say the right thing. Or when you're, you know, you're confronted with an issue that could become an issue, but you deal with it properly. Why? Because we're doing the work underneath the mother stinking streetlights. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm taking in the high quality information that makes it so I can make different connections. My tools for solving problems are sophisticated enough for me to be able to navigate things without friction points and getting caught up on bottlenecks that other people are dealing with. And so when I see a problem, you know, to somebody else that's dealing with an everyday problem, I've been studying under multimillionaires and billionaires and all the different people and different subject matters that I've been, you know, studying on a regular basis. So to me, this problem is relative to like the people that and the voices and the quality information has been influencing my life. You know what I'm saying? To someone else who's been watching the Kardashians and the Fox News, that problem's some real stuff. You know what I'm saying? I've been studying Napoleon for the last month, and like, your problem, I can tell the man or a man you are by the measure of your problems. And so when I see guys getting flustered about stuff, you got to be graceful. Unless someone's got a gun or something, the emotional intelligence piece kicks in when people run out of intellectual options to solve their problems. And that tells you about, right, where the sophistication of their tools drops off. And this is all stuff that's so relative to executive protection.
Oh, yeah.
Because
I run into it all the time
every day
with my family, coworkers, in the last few businesses I've worked in. They get stressed out, and they get like, their level of stress gets so high over small things. I'm like, what's going on? I just can't get this done. This is so hard. Blah blah. I'm like, what do you mean it's so hard? I just did that a few minutes ago. Like, all you got to do is this and that. Well, it's easy for you because you know how to do this stuff. And I'm like, no, man. Like, I am not smart. I am not gifted. I have never. I played a lot of sports in high school and even as an adult, and I was never the best player on any team, never got an MVP at anything, but you always knew I was on the court because I'd hustle. I made my presence known. I was never the best shooter, the best PFT, or the best leader, the best everything in the Marine Corps, but I made my presence known, you know, and I was there. But what I've done in the past, I would say 6 years, that has really, or maybe even 7, that has made me different than most of my peers and most people that I know, is what you just said a few minutes ago, is what I'm taking in. I'm really trying to control about what the information I take in. I listen to stupid self-help books all the time that I used to think were horrible, and some of them are, but some of them have these little nuggets that are amazing. In there. I listen to business books, read business books, leadership. There's just so much stuff that I take in all the time. Right now, I'm in my next class is a literature class, and it's huge, man. Dude.
Nice tattoo.
Let me get this.
But no, I feel you, bro. The quality of the information.
They send me this big book right here for, like, that's my book for class. Like, that's so, like, come on, man. Like, that's, so I don't know anything about analyzing literature and literature theory and stuff. So I picked up a couple of books on literature, and I've been reading them, trying to school up before this class, so I'm not like a dummy. So because I know questions are going to be asked, I know conversations are going to be happening with students who already know this stuff. And I may be smarter than them, but I don't know anything about this. I can't go in here and sound like a dummy. I need to know what I'm talking about.
And that's the equation.
I'm working on it.
Like, with a lot of, you know, when you're about to start a detail, you know, you find out who your client is. Yo, this is the age of information. Talking about how you don't know, or this isn't your world, or you're not that type of guy. You're wrong, bro. You're wrong. Going ahead and get yourself a couple audio books, queue them up, get on YouTube if you have to, queue it up on your commute. I don't want to hear it, and learn some trash so that you have something of value to say and contribute in the environment you're about to go into, because that's how you're going to survive. You know what I mean? Like, and I think it's just it's personal responsibility. You know, it's your personal responsibility. And like on what you were saying with other people getting stressed out too, you know, it's like I think that life honors us with the sophistication of the problems we have to solve. And so when you're looking at like, you know, the average person and what would stress them out, which is going like 2 feet off the beaten path the little route that they do every single day, you know what I mean? Like one thing's out of place and they're like, oh, I'm having the worst day ever. And they like can't like navigate that, you know, like, listen, you're dealing with the problems that are relative to your intelligence level, your productivity level, and really what you deserve because it's all relative to you. And when you become smarter and more sophisticated, then guess what? You'll be dealing with more sophisticated problems like how to run your security company as opposed to how to deal with just being the agent on the ground. And as you grow as an individual, you start to, you're honored by your enemies, just like David was honored by Goliath, and every other superhero or famous person you've ever heard of is only known because of the problem that they've solved and because of the enemy that they destroyed, you know. So I man, like, I mean, this is, and I think it's all relevant to the EP game, because the lifestyle behind this is about becoming a better person. And the better person you become, the more you can contribute. And whether people realize it or not, the more valuable you are, even if it's not in regards to a tactics thing, just as a human being, you know. So I'm with you, man. Like my journey, I've been absorbing audiobooks ever since like the lights flipped on in like 2011 for me. And I know I'm up around like 300 and some change now. And, you know, also finishing my master's in psych. And the funny thing is this way of life takes on a momentum of its own. So now when I'm at like, sometimes when I'm in movies, like about an hour and a half through the movie, I'm like, if there's no storyline, if it's not well written, the quality of information, sometimes I snap out of it and I'm like, yo, this is boring. I could be getting so much stuff done. Or like I can't watch normal people TV because the quality of information is so low. You know, I'd rather go learn or create the life that I'm working for, you know, because your purpose gives you boundaries and it motivates you. Your purpose motivates you. It's like the fight that as warriors we're here to fight, you know. That's good stuff.
My wife gets
man.
so mad at me. I tell her this all the time. I'm like, she'll be watching Bravo or whatever, like straight filth garbage channel with people always arguing and throwing stuff at each other and being angry. Like they're all acting too. It's like horrible. And I'm like, and she gets so mad at me. Like, can we please watch something else? Like she's, you're not watching it. I know I can hear it. You know, like I'm sorry. So I just bought these a couple days ago. Noise canceling Sony, like the new MX3s. Yeah, so, they help a lot. But she's so mad because she's like, I'm calling you. Blah, blah. But really, what I really mean when I'm talking to her, and she will hear this, and she believes it too, but just she's not as disciplined about it as I am. Like I've got this little 8-year-old Gunner that just ran by to the bathroom and went back to his room. He's awesome. He's the most valuable thing on the planet. He's amazing every day. He's awesome. I wake up every day and hope I don't ruin him. He's so smart, smarter than I've ever been. I think just the way he retains knowledge and the way he is inquisitive, like he's constantly trying to learn something. He's all, okay, make animations. Oh, I'm supposed to tell you that he makes animations. He does. He makes really good animations and they're awesome. You should see them. Like really are. An 8-year-old, like they're awesome. I'm like, would you rather him see you over here at 11 o'clock at night doing your schoolwork, banging it out, or reading a book, or like watching these like disgusting people argue over who's getting invited to the white party and who didn't get invited to the white party? Like, come on. It's just straight garbage, man.
Because that is what fuels me. Yo, my pop's extremely successful entrepreneur, owned one of the biggest security companies in the Bahamas. He's multinational, like living in a number of different places, ultra successful. And growing up watching him, the grind, man, that's just like, it's like what sticks in my head, and it's like the only thing I think is right. Like, because I remember just watching him, and like he'd get up, he'd leave the house at like 5 a.m. and he'd come home, and like he'd kind of spend time with us. Like the TV would be on and he'd be behind his computer just building an empire. And I just remember watching him and like, you know, and like I remember him kind of hanging out when he could, but building. And I'm so glad I had that example, because I don't think anything else is okay. And I'm so glad I don't think anything else is okay. And I'll focus on being there for my kids and stuff.
And you probably set that same example for your kids.
You
probably should set that same example for your kids. Sorry.
Cycle,
I try to spend as much time with him as I can, to be, because as horrible as a person as I think I am, and and as screwed up as I think I am, I still don't trust anybody on this planet to be more of an influence on him than me. I also, and people tell me it's part of the PTS and all that stuff, but I don't think I'm going to live long. I just can't see myself living long. I can't see
Yeah.
him graduating. I can't see him getting married. Like I just can't see me being there. Like I've
No.
seen so many young deaths, people die young, that I'm like,
Yeah.
how can I'm probably not going to make it that long. I've almost died so many times. Like I understand how fragile I am.
Yeah.
And how easily I could be
There's a
killed
lot to
or
be
hurt.
said for that.
Sickness, wake up tomorrow and I'm feeling sick and go to the doctor and
Yep.
I got cancer. Something is going to happen. I don't know what it is, Byron. That's what I think in my
No.
mind. So I've got a sense of urgency, like, because I've got to get leave. If I do die tomorrow, I've got to make sure everything's in place. If mom's ready for, like, she's got good education, she can
Yeah.
go get a good job. Like, he knows how to act. There's a lot of stuff recorded, so he understands who I am and what kind of stuff, the kind of person I was, if he
Isn't
wants to
that
know that.
beautiful? I do the
Um,
same thing, man.
yeah,
The
like that
recording
stuff's
thing. My kid
important.
can sit down and watch me talk for 2 or 3 days straight right now. And so then people, if I died
That's
today,
awesome.
it's like my wife could be like, "Go
They
spend
at
time
least
with your
know who
dad.
you are.
Just go in the room. Go to YouTube." You
Yep,
know,
that's good.
it's beautiful.
Nothing wrong with that.
And
So
I
I
think
want
it's,
to
go ahead.
be the best influence I can, and on him. But I also I want him to be smart. I want him to have a good work ethic. I want him to have all those things. But what I don't want him to do, unless he wants to, I don't want him to go get a 9 to 5 because the American dream says work a 9 to 5
Nope.
job, get a mortgage, 2 cars, and a wifey that you hate. You
Yep.
don't need to do that.
Yeah.
You ever listen to Mikey Mike?
No,
Shaggy
not yet.
hair, white rapper guy sings. You look at this song. My favorite song, Paulo Rubio, GN on Funker Tactical sent this to me.
Okay.
He's like, dude, you're gonna love this.
Yeah.
But basically, this guy says he goes through this whole spiel. He's like, his mom's asking him like, Mike, don't you want to meet someone? He's like, no, I want to meet everyone. He's like, well, don't you want to be comfortable? He's like, no, I don't want to be comfortable. Like, and that's why I think, like, why I don't want to be comfortable. I create my problems so I can solve problems. If I won
Yeah.
$2,500 million tomorrow, I think it's the worst thing that could ever happen to me. Maybe
Yeah.
I might be
No,
able to do a
because
lot of good
like,
with that money, but I don't want to lose that necessity to grind and to
yeah,
be who I am. I
yeah,
don't want to get comfortable. Even if I had
yeah.
that money, I'm gonna find a way to stay uncomfortable because I don't.
Dude, I'm right there
You
with you.
ever read Sebastian Junger's book Tribe?
Tribe, yeah, a long time ago. He's
Great
an
book.
older brother
Yeah.
of mine. One of my favorite quotes is, "Nothing will lead you closer to destruction than comfort, man. Nothing will lead you
Yep.
closer to destruction than comfort." Every day,
True.
man, I say that and live there, man. I stay on that edge. It's a beautiful thing, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was going to say he talks about the mental health of these countries that are like in war and after war, and they all
Yeah,
almost everybody he interviews stating that they were much happier and more of a tight knit family during the conflict when there was dangers every day, and then after the war they've broken apart and nobody needs each other anymore and suicides are on the rise.
yeah.
There's a lot of mental health issues, so it's
Hmm.
there's I think our happiness, uh, getting in touch with our our primal instincts, like what
Yeah,
really deep down makes us tick. Those only come out when we're not comfortable. My buddy Ryan
yeah.
Hoover, Fit to Fight, says growth. There's growth in discomfort, and that's
No, that's
a
how
true
you.
statement, man.
That's how you act. That's how you access your adaptation response, man. Like I always, I mean, you hear me, man. Find the purpose within the pain to unlock the potential in your process. That's like one of the things I say all the time. And also what you were saying about death, like for me too, man, my experiences in Iraq and getting jammed up and having a kind of near death experience and all that, just seeing the fragility of like how fragile this thing is, no matter how big and bad you think you are.
Yeah,
And realizing like, yo, I am like this like vulnerable, like the grace for me personally, with me and
I'm squishy,
my
man.
relationship.
Yeah, it don't take much.
Yeah, for me, I'm like, yo, I'm walking around a couple things. One, Albert Einstein has this quote, man, and I gotta get it right, but he's like 100 times a day, I remind myself that I live and I enjoy my life on the backs of the creation and the life's work of so many other people, and that I must push myself to live a life that's deserving of their sacrifices. Essentially,
Hmm.
that's the quote, right? And also for me, I just think we're just rolling on a bunch of grace, man. Like grace, like, because I still have it imprinted in my mind, that IED, that sudden, like, boom, that storm that can just change absolutely everything. And so I live my life for a moment where I could die from anything. And I believe, and everyone's like, well, that's so terrible and dark. No, man, because of that, I'm present so much more
Liberating.
often. In every moment, it's visceral. We could be doing nothing, and I'm going to be like, man, this is awesome. I'm going to work with a gun for a reason. And I take that literally and seriously. You know, like, I'm not getting caught up in the stress of the future. I'm not getting hung up by the stress of the past. I'm here. The fact that I'm able to do this podcast with you right now, and that I'm young, and that I'm relatively strong, and that I have a beautiful wife. We got some cool dogs. You know what I'm saying? It's like a pretty nice day. No one's trying to kill me. Like, these facts are like always bringing like love and life and vibrancy to every single day that I get to live, because of that sense of that understanding of how fragile this contract with life is. And I think that's something that guys need to get a hold of, because we struggle so much because we fail to manage our minds, and we fail to manage we get so caught up in circumstance, and we don't realize that the circumstance isn't what adds the stress to us. It's the way we manage our minds. Because
Yes,
especially if you're
absolutely.
military background, homie, you've been through worse, bro. You ain't cold. You're not wet right now, homie. You know what I
I've
mean?
been to
Like,
hell. This
this
isn't
stuff
it. Yeah.
you could take all of this away from me. You know what I mean? And it ain't gonna be like how it was when I was in country and with grown men trying to kill me 2-3 weeks without a shower. You know what I'm saying? It just ain't gonna be like that. I'm in Cali, you know? Like,
Yep.
you know, and I feel like it's just one of those things, man. So just realizing that death is imminent, and it is something that we're not promised to live, man, I think adds so much beauty and meaning to life, man. So that's good stuff you're touching on, bro.
We do a few things. The wife's on board too. She's all about it. Like, we live in an
Yeah,
RV. I mean, it's not a little RV; it's a big one.
yeah.
But we just threw out a lot of stuff a couple days ago because we just
Sounds like
started
freedom, bro.
accumulating things.
Sounds
Yeah,
like
and
some
so
real
we got
freedom,
what we have
homie.
what we need, and then we
Yeah,
start getting too many things. We go donate it or give it to somebody or sell it for cheap, you know. And like,
yeah,
we were like, do I really need this, you know? And I don't. So I give up a lot of comforts, a lot of things. Right now, we're trying to figure out where we can put it. I need power, and I need electricity, or I need electricity, and I need internet to be able to work and feed the family. We homeschool the boy,
yeah.
but we're trying to find a place where we can put up a wall tent, like a canvas tent with a wood stove, where I got to go out and like chop trees down and cut wood and everything else, and keep us warm all winter, and go stay in a canvas tent, like wall tent, all winter, like put it right next to the house or something, our RV or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just something to do, man. I
It's just
get bored.
wild,
I
man.
get bored, and
That's
I'm like,
good.
hey, I've never had long hair. I'm gonna grow my hair out. Like, I've never done it before. Let's see what my hair looks like. But man, I have no desire ever to live in a house and have a mortgage and be stuck in one place. It just doesn't appeal to me at all. But I love
Yeah.
the idea of, like, you know what? I've
For
never
some
lived in
people,
a
it's,
tent for a year. That might be fun.
yeah,
It's gonna be hard,
yeah.
but
I mean, for some people, you know, and you got to do what's right for you. I'm with you though, man. I'm like a nomad at heart, man. Well, fluidity is like my deal. Like, I like to just be able to go be wherever I want to be. When I was growing
yep.
up, my dream was to just like live on a boat with like, you know, a laptop and a cell phone and run my
We're
empire
gonna
from
live on a
there.
boat sometime. We're gonna at least spend a
You know,
year on a boat, a houseboat at some point.
that's
That's
awesome.
one of our goals.
Yo, so bringing it back to some industry stuff. This is awesome, man. This stuff we're talking about is just the value. I think it's the beauty of this podcast, man, being able to go to all those places. But some questions I had for you. Surviving decisive engagements, life-threatening engagements. If you were going to talk about just a few principles, mindset-wise, what do you think is what makes a difference? What do you think, like in your classes, you know, what contributes most heavily to surviving and moving through life-threatening decisive engagements?
I mean, a lot of it's observation. We talk about awareness a lot, but
Yeah,
you know, being a trained observer, just observation of the world around you is definitely, being a good observer is definitely a skill. That is a skill that people need. The earliest I can detect something's going bad, the more I'm going to be ready for it. The more I'm going to start analyzing those problems and try to solve them. I can process it faster.
yeah,
So, you know, just being observant, and not just, I think situational awareness is this big thing that we say that
Yeah.
like blankets all the time.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, situational awareness thing. But basic observation and spatial awareness of the world around you, the people around you, and how they're interacting with each other, the social dynamics at play. So we can start seeing things happening before they do.
Yeah.
Don't know if you ever did the Combat Hunter program in the Marine Corps, but talking about detecting things and then acting on it
Yeah.
left of bang. The gentleman wrote a book too on it, explaining all those things. They got some good parts,
Good
kind of a
stuff. You
boring
guys need
read.
to get
Sorry if
that
you're
book.
watching. There's a lot of good information in there. The Combat Hunter program was some of the best training I ever did, and it was like mental training, all of it. It was great.
Yeah. Dude, so
Love the
yesterday
observation.
we had Yosef Badu, who was an instructor there for 10 years. We had Yosef Badu, who was an instructor there for 10 years, on yesterday. Actually, we just did an episode with him, and he's just branched out and done emergent. So we're literally talking about the Combat Hunter, all of that training, and left of bang just yesterday. So it's awesome that you mentioned that, man.
That's cool.
That's
Yeah,
good stuff.
I missed that one. So no, it's
Good
great.
track.
But the observation, but also I need to be well rounded.
Yeah.
We all think, oh, shooting incident, I need to be fast out of the holster. Yeah, you need to be fast out of the holster and clearing clothing. I need to be thinking about, I need to be highly lethal for my bad guy.
Yeah.
And highly safe for the people I care about and the people I don't even know, the innocent people around me.
Yeah.
And that's a tough balance. So I've got 4 safety rules, and I won't bore you with them right now. But my classes, everything I teach is basically teaching the students the tools to follow those 4 safety rules in life. They're not range rules.
Awesome.
Those state the whole everything, the ready positions we use, the way we're presenting to the target, the way we're fighting, how we're engaging the target, the angle in which we're engaging the target, the position in which we're engaging the target. Like all of those are to help us follow the safety rules, and I'll bring it back in context to the safety rules constantly.
Yeah.
And so I need to be proficient with my firearm. And I don't care. People I see it's all over the internet right now. I know you've seen it. People watching have seen it. But there's people that say defensive situations do not require a high level of accuracy. You do not need to be accurate with your gun in a defensive situation, because most situations are like 3-ish yards in, and they shoot 2 to 4 rounds and it's over. So we lump it all into that. So Andy Brown dropped a dude at 70 yards. There was a shot, what was it, at recently 49 yards or something. There was recently out in Vegas. Yeah. And Andy's with a handgun. You go to a Walmart and look down the aisle. Tell me how far that is. And your wife's over there, somebody you care about is in the area, and there's a guy out there smoking people with a shotgun or a rifle, and you need to take that shot.
And those are the best
You can get
angles.
75,
You know,
100 yards in Walmart.
Yeah. You go down that aisle, you're now in a fatal funnel. Is it tactically, you know what I mean? Like, you might need to take the shot from the end of the aisle.
I need to have an understanding, and the person carrying a gun needs to have an understanding before he gets in a fight of what he's capable of under stress. How, and they don't, I can shoot buttons on shirts at 3 yards all day long. I can put little Sharpie dots and shoot them on 3 yards all day long, and that's good practice. I can back up to 5 and hit these buttons on shirts, or a Sharpie dot on a target at 5 yards. I can do that. I can shoot at that level. We turn on the stress, maybe I don't shoot quite at that level. We back out to 15 yards. I'm no longer hitting buttons on shirts. How often do we need to actually shoot the guy's shirt button? Pretty much never. I might have this full frontal bad guy like we always train, and we always train, and we shoot him in the chest, and everything's great. But in reality, I may have head and shoulders leaning around a corner. I may have underneath the vehicle where all I have is basically a thin leg by the ankle that I need to shoot, and it's 15 yards away, and I've got a spot that big that I need to put a bullet into. I've got a limited exposure target, maybe all you have. And I've got to get a good precision. Even there's a reason why we need to be able to be precise with our fire. I may need to turn on extreme precision even for a close range engagement if for a hostage situation or a number of different things that could take place. I may have been shooting through a window and I've created a port through that window, and now I got to continue to shoot through that port on that window. Yeah. So I can give you examples for the next hour on why you need to be able to shoot guns good if you're carrying guns, despite the internet saying you don't need to be accurate, achieve a high level of accuracy with a handgun. Most importantly, you need to have a baseline of your skill level under stress, as far as just shooting is concerned, so that you can subtract from and trade speed for that baseline. If you don't know how well you can shoot good, you don't know how fast you can pull trigger.
Yo,
You have
Say that again. You
I
got to
said
have a baseline.
you have to have a baseline to understand what your capabilities are under stress, so you can have at least have something to subtract from and trade speed for when there's time to trade speed for precision.
I see guys come apart. You sprinkle a timer, you sprinkle a little bit of pressure, some people watching, and you just see the skill set just start to just come apart. Yep. And it's like, yo, your TY axis isn't flooded, man. Your limbic system isn't going haywire right now. You still have control of all your quick twitch funness. Like, yo, this isn't even the thing, bro. Yeah, I mean, like,
yep.
Can you imagine?
That's before you think you and the two people you care the most about are about to die, right? You drew your gun and your thumb got caught in your shirt, and now you're trying to work through that. And now you've got somebody running in front of you trying to get past, and they're screaming that you have a gun. Right. Yep. And now you're presenting that gun to the target and somebody moves in the background. Now I've got to figure out how to change levels or change my geometry of fire so I don't injure the person in the background. While this guy's driving his gun to me, he doesn't care about where my bullets go. He's driving his gun to me. My family's behind me. I've got to do something to protect them. I'm not in good trajectory here. Like, there's so many things happening. It could be a simple
bullet time,
but then again, it could be something insane. Yeah. Right. And we need to be ready for that. And the better you are at shooting guns good, reloading your gun, clearing stoppages, drawing and moving offline for a number of reasons, to clear foregrounds and backgrounds, for geometry of fire, for moving to cover, for moving to protect a third party in your line of work, protecting the person you're protecting, working in close proximity, choice of ready positions that work around other people. The better you are at all of those fundamental basic skills, the more your mind's going to be free to think tactics. And if you're not good at all of those little small details, to the smallest thing that you hate practicing because it's so mundane, if you're not amazing at those, then your mind is going to be occupied trying to get that little small thing that you should have already worked out years ago on the range when you should be thinking about something else.
Unconsciously competent. Should have been unconsciously competent by now. The basic stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I don't believe quals will get you there. You know,
if you're having to think about anything gun related, you failed before the fight. If you're having to think of anything gun related.
That's the truth, man. That's some good trash, man. And it's you know, it's something that we talk about a lot, you know, with some of the guys that I shoot with. Is just like, you've got to be able to, like, your shooting is like a foundational thing, keep your fundamentals and things like that, but we want to free up the rest of your bandwidth so that you can think while you're shooting.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
You drill your trash so that stuff is unconsciously competent, and you can think now while you're shooting. The act of employing your firearm is something that's like, you have the muscle memory around it, you have the instincts around it, but now I'm thinking about where my next best piece of real estate that I want is. What are my actions after this? Like, I'm thinking through the whole entire equation the entire time, you know.
Yep.
Where is everybody? Where am I on the battle space? Like, what's my next?
So I have a system that I teach for pretty much everything. I've taken a lot of classes where we just go wing it. Okay, I'm going to blow a whistle or yell something, and we're going to draw our gun to shoot 2 rounds on the target, and then we'll put them back in our holsters and do that again 1,000 times. I have a system for drawing from the holster, for immediate post-engagement scan, for communication for the people that are around that are watching this event, that are seeing me. I'm doing a really good impression of a bad guy right now with a gun out in a public environment with a dead bad guy laying on his gun that nobody can see. They think I'm a murderer. How we handle those situations, a system that we go through and look for every time. What am I specifically looking for when I'm scanning back and forth? How am I scanning back and forth, right? In reality, it's not a like we do on the range. Like, that's not how it really works. It's more like we're predators, right? Our eyes are in the front of our face. We're not like rabbits with our eyes on the side of our head where we can see everything. Because we're predator, now we feel like prey. We don't like feeling like prey, but we want to look everywhere right ahead. So nobody's going like doing this whole kind of stuff real nice and slow and smooth like we do on the internet. It's more like, I'm sure you've done sims and force on force training and seen all kind of fights on video, but we're everywhere, man. We're moving around, we're shuffle stepping, we're looking around.
You're just waiting for that.
We're trying to see everything right away.
What's the next guy? What's the next problem I got to solve, man? Like, what's going on?
My system, is there anything else here that can hurt me?
Yeah.
Am I standing? And this could be a bad guy with a gun. It could be I'm in the middle of the freeway after I wrote this dude a ticket and he drew his gun, started shooting at me. And now there's a tractor trailer coming down the freeway. I'm in a parking garage and there's a car driving way too fast. I'm in Miami and this dude in his Ferrari is just getting crazy. Is there anything else here that can hurt me? Am I standing in the most survivable location that I could possibly be standing in? So is there cover available? Can I put a barrier between me and this guy who wants to kill me that's still got his gun that may regain consciousness
Yeah,
because now the
exactly.
blood's flowing freely horizontal to his brain and not having to defeat gravity. He may come
That
back.
pressure's going back up right now. That blood
Right.
pressure going back up.
So he might be getting clotting. You know, it could be a lot of things happening. So is there anything else here that can hurt me? Am I standing in the most survivable location? And then lastly, what's my next problem to solve? You know, it may be call 911. It may be
Find
throw
work.
that tourniquet on that person that's hurt on my leg. Do something. Yeah, find something to do.
Heck yeah. No, and that's awesome stuff, man. It's good gouge. And then what about, dude, the whole, I don't know, something I've really learned to appreciate is the cold and on demand drill when you get to the range. Like if you have to pull your weapon, you know, heaven forbid, it's going to be cold and on demand. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
There's a lot to be said for warming up, you know, when you're just there to warm up and drill. But I personally think there's a lot to be said too for like, what can you do the first time you get to the range based on your current skill set without touching your weapon? You know what I mean? Like when I'm there by myself or with like one other buddy, I don't go by myself, but when I'm there with my close friends, we do our first drill. It's a cold and on demand, you know, and we like to see what we can do. We like to run those Bear Solutions targets, put them out there and just, hey, let's see what you got. You know what I mean? Because that's where you're going to have to, that's going to be your springboard for that engagement. You know, it's not like you're not going to have been warming up, you know, on the range doing your walk back drills. You know what I mean? Before you.
My first drill I do in my handgun class, it's so I know what I'm going to do the rest of the day, how the rest of my day is going to be, what I'm going to be teaching for the rest of the day, because I reserve the right to change any class based on the students that show up.
Heck yeah.
As I have them get on the 3-yard line, I've got little Sharpie dots on the target, like little bitty dots. 3 yards, I'm like, all right, guys, draw your handguns. When I get out of your way and you're back on your point of the line, I want you to get your firing grip on the gun. I'm going to come by and look at your grip because sometimes I'll have somebody with a funky grip and they ruin their day on the first shot. Just let me come see your grip before you start shooting. When I do, you can begin. I want you to give me the 10 best shots you've ever fired in your entire life at that far left little Sharpie dot right there. Like, give me the 10 best shots you can possibly do.
Best.
No, I'm not even giving any time limits, nothing else. I'm like, no stress, no time limits, no nothing. Just pure only shooting. You don't have to think about anything else. Let me see what skills you brought. So I'm watching them draw the gun from the holster, and I'm seeing how they draw from the holster. So I'm thinking trained or untrained, 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 untrained. He looks like he knows what he's doing. Untrained, untrained, untrained. And then I go through their groups, and then I use their groups to move on to the next thing. But it's like I can tell what I'm dealing with immediately. And there'll be somebody who's just all over the place that thought they were awesome, and then there's somebody right next to them that just all the shots are in the same hole, you know?
Yeah.
And like you just experienced shooting at the high level. For some of you, that's the first time in your life you've ever seen someone shoot at a high level. You may have went through your entire life thinking you were good because you put 10 rounds or emptied a magazine on a target at 7 yards and they were all somewhere in the chest. That is not impressive. We can all miss the really, really fast. We can all do that. You didn't come here to be able to do that. You came here because you need to shoot fast and accurately and make good decisions. Like it's most people have never experienced a high level of shooting.
That's the truth. That's just the truth.
My audio is going to change because I've got to pull out my lav mic and put a charger in because my battery's dying.
Okay, cool. No worries.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I totally can hear you right now. You're good to go. No, that's absolutely 100%. A lot of people just like guns, and they never really put the time in to really become good at it. I got another question for you, if you can hear me, about firearms. Can you train firearm skills without being on the range? It's a simple one, actually. It'd probably be a quick answer, but
are you trying to push me to make a quick answer?
No, I'm not. Dude, I got time, bro. I'm enjoying all the content, bro. You're able to. I'm loving it, man.
Yeah, for sure. You can train without being on the range. There's a lot of good information on the internet. I don't think watching videos is training. I think watching videos is a great place to start. It's like Wikipedia. Like you don't cite that on your thing. You don't do Wikipedia on your graduate school classes, things like they'll laugh at you. But it's a good place to start and trying to find a little bit of information.
References off of Wikipedia.
Yeah,
like if you go
and figure out what to look for.
And start looking at where they got their info and maybe do a little back searching.
You could grab some stuff.
I'm not saying I've done it, but you know.
Oh, I've done it. But that's how YouTube. But that's what YouTube can do for us, you know, in training video, whether it's martial arts or guns. Like, hey, you know what? That's interesting. I'm going to look more into that. Never thought about that before in my life. That's a new concept to me. I'm gonna check that out more. You know what? I'm
Yeah.
gonna ask my friend who's a firearms trainer that has been doing this for years. And a lot of people on the internet and look up to him. People spend a lot of money going to his classes. He must not suck at what he does. I'm gonna ask him what he thinks about it.
Yeah.
We can inspire thought there. Dry practice. Just practicing reloads. When I don't shoot for a few months, and I noticed this past week, I haven't spent a whole lot of time on the range in the past like 3 months.
Yeah.
I have my accuracy and my speed and accuracy goes downhill because when we press the trigger and that gun moves down, the internet will tell you that you're anticipating recoil. I'll tell you that, yeah, that's a good thing as long as you do it in sequence. If I do it while I'm pressing the trigger and I move the gun, I just miss the target. But you see all these competition shooters, if their gun goes click, they're moving that gun down. But what they're doing is they're moving that gun down in the correct sequence. And when in the correct sequence is when the gun's fired and it's recoiling, they're fighting for realignment to get that gun back down on target faster. So when that movement happens in the correct sequence, it's not a bad thing. When it happens out of sequence, like the majority of shooters, where they move that gun down as they're pressing the trigger, they miss low center, low left, low right, like everybody else does. So I start losing that sequence when I'm shooting fast, and I start yanking those rounds down really quickly. Yeah. What I don't lose is reload speed and clearing stoppages. I don't know if it's because they're just more gross or it's because I've spent so many hours in my life with rifles and handguns when I don't have any rounds around, but I've got my gun out of the armory or I'm at home with my own guns and I'm thinking I'm going to deploy again soon. I need to put in work, and I'm reloading my rifles. I'm reloading my handguns. I'm just practicing dropping a magazine and reload, just setting it back up. I've done that for hours and hours till my fingers bled. I do not really lose any measurable speed in reloads and stoppage clearances with a shot timer. Awesome. I don't know why. I guess those are my theories. Because I put in a lot of work. So because of that, that's my theory. I think you can put in a lot of work and manipulation, trying to make those set up as real as possible and clear those stoppages. Yeah. Reload the gun, work on those skills.
We call them
that don't cost anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Underwear hours. I mean, because some guys, they're saying things like, hey, man, I can't afford to go to the range. I don't have the time to go to the range. I say, man, just get back to the Marine Corps, get your dry firing in, get your underwear hours in. We call it underwear hours here, You're at home, outside of your safe in your undies, doing your reload drills with your belt on, with your rig on. Just practice the reloads 10 minutes a day. A lot of guys say, man, it really, and I know for a fact, it really does make the difference.
Drawing from the holster, drawing from concealment.
Yeah.
Drawing from concealment with one hand. Reloading your gun with one hand. Clearing stoppages with one hand. Applying handcuffs to somebody or restraints with somebody with one hand, applying tourniquets to yourself or somebody else with one hand. You're injured, they're injured. I'm seeing in the videos that I watch of dash cam, closed circuit TV, cell phone footage. I'm fortunate to be a firearms trainer in a time where there's so much video evidence. Right. I think years ago people went off hearsay and people's macho embellishment lies. I really believe that. Yeah, like we always want to make it sound like we went through something harder than everybody else, and we had it the worst, and we're the best, and everything else. Is what we do as humans. But I can see fights now, and I don't believe that video evidence is the end all to train. Like we should. It's just a small sample size still, so we're not getting everything. But there is a story there. I should not develop my training and everything that I do in life because of the videos that are out there. Only the things that are caught in video, but there is some evidence there. And one of the pieces of evidence that I'm seeing is over 30% of all of these shootings involve one hand in some point.
I was gonna say that there's something to be said for this firing with one hand trash, man, because we're seeing it a lot now that we're seeing that like. I don't know if it's just that your brain's jammed up and flooded, but that punching out with one hand, the second things are happening. So
humans don't. Way back in the day, if I had a hammer that I had made out of rocks and stuff, if I lose this thing, I may not die today or tomorrow, but I'm going to die of hypothermia, even though I don't know what hypothermia is. Here shortly. I've got to feed myself, make snares. I've got to catch things. I've got to forage. I've got to make fire. I've got to do all those things, and I can't lose my tools. Humans like the law enforcement officer who holds onto his clipboard. There was a fight in I think it was Cleveland not too long ago. There was at the end of last year. Guy was running around, a law enforcement officer with his handgun out, shooting this dude who was shooting at him and the other officers that were there, and he never dropped his taser. He had deployed one of his tasers, it was one of the X2s that have the 2 shots. He deployed one of them with no effect, and they started going lethal. And then he just ran around this whole fight that lasted like a minute and a half, never dropping his taser, even though he didn't need that taser. In our minds, we're wired to not let go of our tools. We've got the gangster who's getting the drive-by shooting, and he's shooting, popping off rounds with a cell phone next to his ear. Not because he wanted to look cool. He never even considered for a second to let go of that tool, that valuable device that he has that connects him to everything, to his livelihood, his money, his dollars, the drug dealer, whatever. Never even considered dropping it.
That's right.
So we don't let go of our tools. You may be protecting that person that you're paid to protect, wrapping them up, getting behind them, moving somebody somewhere, articulating the door, pushing somebody down. You can be doing 1,000 different things with that hand. You could have got injured in the fight with that hand. I could be holding my 8-year-old because he doesn't run as fast as me. There's a bazillion reasons why. Maybe you're protecting a kid. So it's I think we need to put in work with one hand. And if I'm seeing 30% of these engagements, I don't think it's too crazy to say that I need to put in 30% of my time doing something with one hand.
Yeah, 100%, man. I saw Knockout Lights do some great trash down, some good media down on this one hand thing. It's only your weak hand if you let it be your weak hand. Good to go. I was like, get them. Burn them at the stakes. Get all of them. I loved it, man.
I call it my stupid hand, man. Everything I do with this hand is just dumber.
Yeah, you got
I can call it whatever I want. It's not going to make it better.
Yeah, no, it's the truth. Got to put in work. What do you think about the phrase slow is smooth, smooth is fast?
Man, I've heard this since I was like a 17-year-old kid on the Yellow Footprints at Paris Island in like 1997, man.
No, that's why I'm asking. I have these two camps all around. They're like, pew, 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 pew on this topic.
I didn't understand it then, so it kind of made sense. Oh, I get it. So I just need to go slow to make sure I'm doing all the movements smooth. And if I'm doing them all smooth, then I'm not having these interruptions and screwing up. So I accomplished the big goal fast. So slow, smooth. And that's what I thought for a long time. And then as I get a little bit further along, and I start really thinking about this more, and I don't remember when this happened, but somebody was saying slow is smooth is fast. And I was just sitting there thinking about it, not even listening to what they're saying. I'm like, slow can't be fast. Like slow is slow, right? So like slow is slow, and no matter how smooth you do slow, it's still slow. Now I do believe that there is a thing that I refer to as a training pace. A training pace is that pace, and maybe even the techniques that I use, like looking at what I'm doing with my eyes all the time. Or the internet would say, "Why'd you look at your holster?" When you put it away, you don't know what you're doing. You look, and I'm like, well, if you're too scared to look down at your holster, don't put your gun away. And there's a whole bigger, longer talk than that. So don't judge me off of just that, because there's a lot more to it. Or they'll say that they'll say, I saw you look at your magazine well when you reloaded your gun. You're not a professional. You had to look at your magazine. I'm like, no, I didn't have to, but I'm always faster when I use my eyes. I don't drive off sense of smell. I'm a better driver when I use my eyes, just like I'm a better reloader when I use my eyes, if vision is available. And they're like, but you're looking at your gun and you can't see the target downrange. And I'm like, well, what do you use to aim? Do you focus on your front sight? And they're like, ellipses. Like, they don't have anything to say, because they realize that it's okay to focus on my front sight when they're shooting, when they're sending bullets into the atmosphere that could kill people. That it's okay to stare at the gun and not the bad guy. But when we reload, we got to have full focus on the bad guy, because peripheral vision only works when we're focused on the sights. Right? Like, ridiculous. The internet is a horrible place, full of morons like us.
It down,
but anyway,
execute. Here we go.
The slow is smooth, smooth is fast. I believe in a training pace where I may do these things, use my eyes, go slow, to work on good economy of motion, good efficient mechanics, and then I smoothing those robotic features out, and then it gets faster. I slow down today to go faster tomorrow. But it's still, I am not a fan of the slow is smooth is fast. I don't do it.
I think, see, to me, I remember from my experience, I kind of am on the fence with it, because slow is slow. And then at the same time, I know why it's taught, because for the masses and the people that don't get to such a high level of, being is proficient, efficient, so such a high level of effectatiousness with their weapons, it's relevant. You know what I mean? Because you get into a high threat situation and your life's on the line and your limbic system does jam up and you're losing all your quick twitch trash. Like, like we were talking about earlier, maybe you lost that gunfight before it ever started. But the reality for a lot of guys, or if you ever do Thunderdome at the end of the range day, where it's like two guys are standing side by side, get your hits on your piece of steel, you know what I mean, and everyone's competing. You see these mechanics guys start to come apart, and so I think there's something to be said for the slowest smooth, smoothest fast to the masses, to people that are like at a certain level, but you shouldn't be there for very long. You know what I mean? Like, as a warrior, I think you should train yourself to where, no, I can push it and I can be good at pushing it and I can go fast as fast. You know what I'm saying? Because, but then also, you know, and when I was in trash happening in Iraq, I do remember, man, the saying did come in handy, you know, and this is why I'm on the fence with it, because I remember being like, like, do the trash you're supposed to do. You know what I mean? Step 1, step 2, step 3.
You know what I really think? What I really, really, really think every time this comes up?
Yeah, break it down.
Can you curse on this show?
You do what you want, man. No. You do what the heck you want to do, bro.
Who gives a fuck, right? Yeah. Like, what could we really be talking about? We just spent like 8 minutes talking about an internet saying that people like to post about and hashtag, and like people argue about it and everything else and get some clickbait BS, when we could have been talking about something that would change lives or save lives, right? We just jumped into the same thing that's happening all over the place. Like, I don't care if you show up to the range, you never shot a gun before, and you call all the magazine clips on the range. I'm just glad you're here. You stick around long enough, you're gonna figure out what everybody else calls them. Like, we could, because I think there's more important things to talk about than me correcting some dude's terminology. So that's what I think, man. You guys call it whatever you want. If you want to think smooth is smooth and slow is slow and slow is fast and smooth is flow and flow smooth is fast, that's cool, right? Get your hits. I'm going to be over here with Byron, and we're going to be talking about something relevant.
No, I dig it, man. I dig it. That's what's up. What I was looking at your website, and your active killer defense course got my attention, because it kind of had some buzzwords in it, like active, you know, like active shooter, active, all that stuff. I wanted to hear a little bit about that before we roll out. Break it down, man.
So after Sandy Hook, Ryan Hoover, my partner in active killer defense, Ryan runs he's the owner of Fit to Fight. He's all over the country with his Fit to Fight locations. Ryan is a Krav Maga guy, but he trains a lot of other things. Ryan, I don't know if you're familiar with Ryan or anybody else out there is, but I've trained with a lot of martial artists. I've been around a lot of people that I consider were very real world martial artists that train people for actual reality based fights, not just looking cool and then like internet buzzwords and everything else. And I find Ryan to be one of the, if not the most practical martial arts trainers that I've ever known. And he built a program that
practical.
Right. Like, it's going to work, and it's going to be tested. And he's probably bled a little bit trying to test it, you know, and everything else.
Get it right.
And his right hand woman, Amber, has probably bled too, because he beats the crap out of that poor girl and she beats the crap out of him. So he comes up with this active killer defense program, but it wasn't called AKD at the time. I forget what he called it. It wasn't active killer defense. Basically, where he taught disarms. When that person, if we have a chance to grab them, maybe that rifle's leading into the room, and the teacher can grab that gun and use the Krav Maga disarm style techniques. And he broke away from Krav Maga worldwide and started doing his own thing because of some disagreements with a lot of the gun related stuff too. Snatch that thing and start beating this dude in the face. We're often fighting people that are in these events like Adam Lanza size. You know, that we rarely run across a guy that's like Dwayne The Rock Johnson coming in trying to hurt people. Usually these are like freaking dweebs, man, that you would break in half, right? You would destroy this dude with your bare hands. Like you would squeeze his neck till his eyeballs pop out and then like rip him in half. That's how it would go down. And so I believe it's very feasible and practical for even a teacher to be able to turn on violence just enough to create a delay and maybe even hurt the person, maybe even incapacitate the person. I've got them tackled. I hit them in the head with a gun a couple times. They don't like how that feels. Now they're on the ground, and I'm putting all my weight on slamming that head on the ground, right? And I'm also yelling for somebody to come help me, hold him down, stand on that gun. You know, if it's a high school teacher and you got a bunch of football players in there, problem solved, right? If
Game
you got a
on,
bunch of
yeah.
like kindergarten kids, you know, we have to deal with some different situations. So we get into some ethical dilemmas and some other things in the class. But that's what Ryan was doing. And then I was in Kansas when a shooting at the Excel plant happened, and a lot of people were murdered. And Ryan's like, hey, can you help me? Like, we need to put this together now. We've been talking about it, where this has got an arm portion and an unarmed portion, and bring it together. And I'm like, yes. So I called a buddy of mine that is a great medic, awesome medic. He was protecting the Koch brothers, like Charles Koch and his family and everything, protecting them. He spent some time. I'm not going to say where he's at right now, but he's out in Palo Alto doing big things with like the biggest company in the world, right? But he is an awesome medic. So I'm like, hey man, can you come in and hang out with me? And I want to make sure I have a good understanding of all this medical piece that we went over the other day in a class. He came in and taught a class. And I want to talk about these other things. I want to be able to put all of this together, wound packing, tourniquet application, and applying chest seals, and make sure I've got a package that I can deliver in 1 to 2 hours with practical application to build into this active killer defense class. So what me and Ryan ended up with was an unarmed portion. You come in gym clothes and you're fighting, you're beating up bags, you're wearing it out, you're sweaty, you're tired, you're tackling people, you're learning a little bit about communication. Then we have the arm portion where we go through guns, what they look like, how they function. If you have a gun, you're hurting people, and I can grab that gun, but I can't hold onto it anymore. We identify the magazine release. At least press that button. If he's firing, cover the ejection port. How to induce stoppages, how to do different things, how to disarm them if we can, and how we can just hang on a sling. You know, whatever you can think of to cause delays.
Yeah, the information.
Can you hear me?
The more information you have, the more options you have to solve the problem.
Yeah. And so, but what we're really doing is inspiring them and giving them permission to act. Please don't take your kids and cover their eyes and not let them watch themselves die. As heroic as that is, in its own way,
it's tragic.
Let's position ourselves next to the door and put those kids on a corner. And when this crazy moron comes in there with a gun, I want you to grab that thing, and I want thumbs in his eyes, his ear ripped off. I want you to bite his face off. I want you to beat his teeth in. Do whatever you can. Do not stop. Do not let up. And then people will make a comment like, what am I supposed to do? Hit him with a stapler? Hell yeah. Hard. Hit him with a stapler. Lots of time. A cell phone. I've got an iPhone X. I've got an iPhone X. I can break somebody off with this iPhone X. This thing is a weapon.
Like, if someone actually gets in my space, even though I have a little bit of size or like I'm in an elevator, like I'll instantly take my iPhone and I'll put it right in the palm of my hand. And I'll take my finger and I will get ready to drive it through someone's eyeball. If I just feel even a little bit uncomfortable, like I'm sitting there and they're like, yo, this dude's like on Facebook, homie, I've killed you 5 times in this elevator. That's okay. That's what we do. You know what I mean? Move wrong.
So no, we teach them medical, because what we find is over 85% of these kids that are dying, and not even just kids. And that was when I say we find. I'm not part of the American College of Surgeons, but that's what we found in the DHS. You know, they called for a big report and everything else. So we got the American College of Surgeons together and did a lot of research and everything. And what they came up with in the Hartford consensus was to mitigate lives lost in an active shooter or mass casualty event. It is on the immediate first responders, and they define the immediate first responders as those other individuals that are on the scene, may be injured, may not be injured, but it's not law enforcement, it's not medic, it's not EMS, it's the people right there. And so they've called for the Stop the Bleed program, and putting medical kits in or massive bleeding kits and public access bleeding kits and that kind of stuff. And it's slowly going through. Me and a friend of mine work really hard on pushing out Jacob kits. I try to get them in every classroom. We don't make a dime off of it, but we've got them in multiple states now, all over the place. Jacob Hall was killed by a 14-year-old shooter at Townville Elementary School. And this kid wanted to be a hero. He loved superheroes. He was buried in a Batman costume. Me and my wife and son went down to his memorial service. We went down to his funeral. I got really close to this one. I a little closer than I should have. I always study these active shooters that happen, but this one I was 45 minutes from there, so I got a little closer than I should have. Completely broke my heart. So we call these Jacob kits, and to help make Jacob a hero. And we are in classrooms all over the country right now. We have legislation in the South Carolina House of Representatives making it a law to have those, hopefully. and
Yeah.
man, they're going like crazy. And so Stop the Bleed kit with Jacob's name
Heck
on it.
yeah.
But that
Dude,
ties
that's
back into the active killer defense. So those are a lot of things that I do on the side that I
yeah.
think are just good for humanity and good for us.
Yeah.
Don't
Heck
make
yeah.
anything, but I love that little boy, and I want to make him a hero, man. And we're
Heck
doing
yeah.
that.
That's so honorable. That's so noble, man. That's good stuff. And all you guys out there, man, take a look at the facilities that you're protecting and the residences that you're responsible for, and think about getting these Stop the Bleeding kits, man. It's like, that 2-minute window you might be looking at, that stopping the bleeding is the number one thing that it saves lives in these mass casualty events or any type of event. So like
If
any,
you carry a gun, you should
any,
have a medical kit on you.
yeah, yeah, it comes
Like
with the
you should
territory.
have it.
100% at least, at least an IFAC or something in your kit. That's in my EDC. I have 2 different medical kits with me. I got the stuff in the car and I have stuff in my day pack that I always have with me. But
So worst case scenario, you've got some gauze, whether it's combat gauze, hemostatic or not,
yeah,
chest seals in there, and
yeah,
a tourniquet can get super small, especially depending on what kind of tourniquet you're using. And where maybe we can have a conversation about tourniquets. I'm not a medic. I'm not. I am a Stop the Bleed instructor. They gave me a certificate on the internet,
yeah,
and a combat lifesaver. So I feel comfortable teaching wound packing, flying chest seals,
yeah.
and tourniquet application. But
Heck yeah,
beyond that is I don't do needle D's or any of that stuff. Like that's beyond my world. But yeah, but have those basic kits.
heck yeah, that's what's up. No, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Considerations, gents. Any place you're working, any place you're responsible for, one, you should have medical equipment on you, and 2, think about getting something like a Jacob kit or some type of medical kit around you. It could be what could really make the difference. I'm 100% with you on that, man. Yeah, man, that's pretty much all I have. That's all I have. Sometimes I ask the guys if they have, because we're all into EDC. Do you have like an EDC item that's like your thing that you always have with you? Might be medical, might be your medical kit, or something that you really like dig as far as your
An
everyday
EDC item
carry
that I
trash.
dig.
Yeah.
Man, I carry more than anything else my lazy gun, the Smith and Wesson revolver 6.42. I just drop it
That's
in a
what's
pocket.
up. That's what's up.
I carry that
My
little guy
lazy
all the
gun.
time. It's my
I love
lazy
that
gun.
name.
And now, if I'm really getting dressed, I'll probably throw the Glock 19. If it's wintertime, maybe
Yeah.
the VP9 in there.
Yeah.
Depends on what it is. I used to review a lot of guns, so
Yeah.
I would always carry. I would always carry whatever I was reviewing. So,
Yeah.
people are like, what gun are you carrying? Like, if you don't like this gun, what are you carrying? And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I carry whatever I'm checking out right now, so I can give a good opinion of it.
Yeah.
But I don't do that as much anymore. I made a vow last year that I'll never write a gun review again, and I plan on never doing that again. That's another funny story.
You just, I was about to say, like,
But
what's up with that, man? You just hate guns, or you just hate the,
I can't
don't want to touch
handle the
it?
lack of ethics. I can't handle the lack of ethics in the firearms industry.
Mm.
It's not for me.
Yeah.
It's they want to pay for lies, and I'm not going to play that game. I
Dig it.
care about the end users,
Yeah.
not the gun companies. And I think
Dig
their
it.
priorities should be in the same place, and they don't like it when you sell them that
Well,
and ship all their guns back to them.
the world's not made for man anymore. It's made for money, man. That's why your doctor's selling
That's
you
right.
trash that'll kill you. The grocery stores selling you
Yep,
food that'll kill you. You know what I mean? That's the game.
it's the truth.
Knowing this is
It's the
half the
truth.
battle. We avoid disappointment by managing our expectations properly. No, I dig it,
No,
man.
if you do need to see it, like Dark Angel Medical, Pocket Dark, check that
Yeah.
out. That's good for you guys carrying.
Yeah.
And Focus is PHOKUS Medical Group.
Okay.
A few SEALs may start this company. Focus is they have a little kit called the Shield, and it's got a SWAT T, which is it's a bad tourniquet and a bad pressure dressing, and a bad occlusive, but it can do all three. And some people probably be flaming me for that right there, but that's my opinion
Yeah.
of it. But it is a
No more.
tourniquet and does other things. Supplement that with a CAT or a SWAT T or a soft T or something, and you'll be all right.
Okay.
But no, it's just that's I carry a medical kit with me, and a
Yeah.
positive mental attitude everywhere I go. And
Heck yeah.
I'm polite. I smile at everybody. I give them head nods. I open doors. I hold the door for everybody. And I think not being an asshole has kept me out of a lot of problems, and not letting my ego control my actions has kept me out of a lot of problems.
100%, man. That controlling your ego, the smile. Yo, I would go so far as to argue that having a good energy and having that positive mental attitude and having that smile is probably your most valuable disarm. It will
Yeah,
literally get you out of more trouble in life than any of the tough guy trash, any of the, I mean, all the
for
social
sure.
dynamics,
Absolutely.
having good energy, keeping your freaking ego in check, and
Especially when you combine that with
being
with the
default
with that
respectful.
certain look. You know, that
Yeah,
certain look. Like I combine that smile and everything else, and then I also have this look like he could probably take care of himself, but he's
yeah,
choosing to be happy and smile and all these things. You know, it's like
yeah.
I think that makes it even more powerful.
That's
I'm like,
power.
that guy's got some
Exactly.
gravity. I can't put my finger on it, but
Yeah,
he doesn't look like somebody I want to mess with. But man, he's also polite. Like that's
yeah.
weird. You know, like
That's
that's scary.
that's the no. That is the ultimate move, man. It's like, and you just nailed it, man. Like rolling around, knowing who you are, and you can't achieve that from a false place. You have to know who you are, know what you
Right.
can do, and know what you're there to contribute. You know, like I'm the nicest guy in the world, and it's actually a tactical thing, but it's a genuine like, hey, I'm here to protect. This place is safer because I'm here. You know, what I mean, and I'm happy to be there, and
Right.
that I mean, you gain rapport with everyone in your environment. At the same time, if you know who you are, I think that a real man is there to protect, is there to love, is there to provide for their family and everything and everyone in their environment. But you have the quiet storm. You know what I mean? You have that there
Yep.
in case it's needed. It's kind of like the picture behind me. The quiet storm's always there. Maybe you go to the gym and you train it. You know, you get on the mats with your boys and you train it. You let it out a little bit there. You do a little bit of therapy with your storm, but you always have that quiet storm. And I think that's one of the most intimidating, but also one of the things that brings the most safety. Like people feel safer when
Yep.
they know you have that. It's a beautiful thing, man. That's good
Man,
stuff,
I'm the
man.
nicest guy ever. But if
Yeah,
there's going to be violence, I'm going to turn
you're the
violence all
most
the way to
violent
11,
guy.
man.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
It's about to get real violent. Yeah.
The most violent guy in the room. That's it.
And
That's yeah.
yeah.
And if you haven't,
I don't know. Was it U.S.? No, I don't think so. But man, I believe in having a huge reverence for human life. There's nothing on this planet more important. I don't care if they're a thug, whatever else. Like they may
Mhm.
redeem themselves, maybe do something great. Like everybody deserves a chance, man. I can call me a hippie,
Yeah,
whatever. I think humans are the most valuable thing on this planet.
yeah.
I I I often I'm losing my. Hear me now? How about now? Can you hear me?
Ah, gotcha. Yeah. No.
All right, now you can, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
The most valuable thing on the planet, all right? Like nothing's more valuable than that ever. People often say that, hey, there's a lawyer attached to every bullet. I think guys like you and guys like me and people who carry guns every day, we need to be better than that. There's a life.
There's a life. Uh-oh. Grand finale. He's frozen. Oh. I think we lost him. Well, I think what he was gonna say is that there's a life attached to every bullet. Um, Man, this is a good episode. I think let's see if I can't bring him back in to end the podcast at least. All right. Nonetheless, I think that was good, man. That was. All right. Well, gents, with that. I think we might. Oh, there he is. So we can bring him back in here. Uh, give him a chance to tell you guys where you can find him and all that fun jazz. That was good, man. That was great. I'll hold out for him to see if he can get back on here real quick. Hey, what's up, Sean? Good to see you, bro. Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate that. Absolutely. Bum, 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 bum. Um, Yep. Okay. If my phone comes back on, I'll jump back in. Okay. Well, so hey, you guys, that was Daniel Shaw. I think that was great, man. That was some awesome subject matter right there. We went on ahead and got after it. You can find him at shawstrategies.com. His website, shawstrategies.com. Seems like a pretty cool place. He's doing all kinds of things. And basically, you heard him, man. He does a lot of like traveling and training and all that fun jazz, which is pretty sweet. We got the active killer stuff, carbine, vitals, handguns, instructor development, Kalashnikov, vitals, and patrol rifle. I believe that is rifle vitals. So he's in it, man. He's in the game. He's traveling. He's training, and hopefully, oh look, I can actually bring him. Hopefully, as we build the brand, man, we can get him in here, and we can maybe we can bring him in with us, man. Let's see here. All right, so we're doing the technical difficulties thing. Daniel's friends will be able to see. Yo,
yeah, can you hear me now?
Got you back, man. Got you back. We thought we lost you. But anyways, you were saying, I think you were saying there's a life.
That's it. There's a life attached to every bullet, man.
Drop it one more time.
There's a life attached to every bullet, and that's important, man. And we got to be mindful of what we're doing. Strapping on a gun and doing what you do for a living, it's a huge responsibility that nobody should take it lightly, and we shouldn't allow our brothers and sisters to take it lightly, man. It's we have to we joke about things. That's how we deal with things, but still we can't take it lightly, man. Huge responsibility.
No, 100%. And honestly, I think with any profession that has to do with you carrying a weapon, it has just become more than just a job. It requires a lifestyle to go behind that art, behind that practice, behind that responsibility. So that's what's up, brother. Boom. So tell everyone where they can find you, man. Shameless plug time.
Follow me on Instagram. I'm trying to get more people that follow me on there, because the more people you have on Instagram, the more I can get paid to have fun. So like, I want to, I'll hit up a company. Recently, me and the family went whitewater rafting because they wanted us to go rafting and post on Instagram. I'm like, you're gonna let me go rafting for free and stay the night at your place for free, and all I gotta do is make Instagram posts? I'm like, where do I sign up? What do you want for me to move in? You know, and it's
right.
So Instagram. I'm Daniel Shaw 0369 on all social media. Dude, that's where you'll find me everywhere. Public figure, Facebook page, and everything. Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff. Pretty easy.
Awesome.
You can see my classes and my schedule. I don't have anything on my schedule right now, and I'm probably not going to have anything on my schedule until I'm actually thinking about working on something in Salt Lake City area that might happen sometime this year, before the end of the year or early next year. But I'm probably not going to have anything on the schedule until we figure out when we're going to Texas and get down there. So it's going to be pretty bare for a little bit. But love to have you guys in the class. And
that's what's up. We okay, awesome, man. And is this your primary website, the Shaw Strategies?
Yeah, that's my primary website. I'm working on the Jacob Kids website. We have a Jacob Kids page for that. I also have a Tango Yankee Chips. You're familiar with my Tango Yankee Chips, right? Really?
No. Shameless plug, bro.
This is gonna take a while. I'm not gonna give it all. I want you to go to Tango Yankee and watch the video. Go to tangoyankeechip.com and watch the video. It's a short video. Basically, I had somebody do something really nice for me, and I had just got back from teaching a class in Canada, and I gave him a little subdued Canadian flag patch that a Mountie gave me after the class, and because it was a thing that meant the most to me right then. So I gave it to him and to say thank you, like a challenge coin kind of thing. And I spun it around in my head for a while, and I ended up
Yeah.
landing on poker chips because they weren't very expensive to make. Basically, this is a chip that says thank you when somebody does something.
Yeah.
I've had daughters like email me and say, hey, I gave my stepdad one, and thanked him for acting like my real dad since I was a little girl and raising me. And my eyes have cried many times with some of the messages I've got. These are stupid little poker chips.
Really?
That somehow get people to say things that they wouldn't say otherwise, and they're powerful. So Byron, I'll send you a couple. You put 2 in your pocket. You carry 2 around because that way if you give one away, you still got one in your pocket. And you walk around all day and you look for somebody not being an asshole, being a good person, doing something. And you're like, hey man, your hands were full, but you held the door for me and went out of your way. Thank you. And you shake their hand, you give them a Tango Yankee chip. And then you walk around all day long and your actions are actions of someone deserving a Tango Yankee chip because you have it in your pocket. You're a better person. You're going to make people a better person, and you give it away. Like they're magical, man. Stupid little poker chips that like create magic.
I think that's beautiful, man. Now what I love about you, man. You're a killer. You're a hardcore. You're intense. You're cognitive. You know, you have that intellectual agility that comes from somebody who's been like training his mind. I love it, man. I love it.
One of my proudest moments in my life, Byron.
Because that's our number one.
One of my proudest moments in my life. I'm in Thailand training some Thai soldiers. This was 2010 or 2011, and the captain that was in charge of everybody. There was a major in charge, and then there was a captain. The captain gave me a tiger tooth hanging on a necklace, and he said he was dead serious, like, and because we spent 2 weeks together, got to know each other really well. He said, he handed me that thing. He said, because you are a tiger, you are like a tiger who eats meat and cries while he eats the meat he just killed over the meat. And I was like,
so
whoa.
Good.
I don't know if tigers really cry, but
yeah,
I was like, man, if that's how he sees me, like I've got something to live up to right now. Like that's honored, man.
Yo.
Yeah.
But that's good stuff. And like, cause the next thing I was going to say is you got the heart, man. You've got such a big heart. And that's what I think is a sign of a true warrior. Because when you really boil it down, what I believe I find in like the guys that I really truly respect is they're lovers. Yeah. I mean, like we fight for what we love. Yeah. I mean, we love life. We love humans. We love existing. We love so much. And that love drives us to beat the snot out of ourselves on a daily basis, to go harder than everybody, to fight for what we know we deserve. Because if we become the best we can be, we contribute on a higher level. You don't train because of hate. And the world will be a better place.
You train because of love, man.
I love. Yeah. Exactly. I'll stand there. I'll bleed out. I'll give you a blood transfusion of all my knowledge, of all my ability, of everything that I can do. I'll put you on my back. I'll freaking die carrying you. Why? Because I got that stinking love in my heart. It's some deep trash. I can't talk about it too much more on here. But you know what I mean? That's the stuff, man. I see that in you. I respect the heck out of that. I love it, man. It's a beautiful, beautiful episode. Good stuff, Daniel. It's an honor that our paths have crossed, man. We're able to be in this trash and make the world better.
Let's do it, man. So thank you for letting me come on your show and run my mouth for like however long we did. It was a long time. I haven't been on anybody's podcast in a while.
It's an honor
doing my podcast, so it was fun, man. I really appreciate it. Yeah, the Gunfighter Cast is where they can also go look if they want to listen to the old podcast. Gunfightercast.com.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
Thanks, Byron.
That's what's up, man. Hey, it's an honor. Semper Fi, brother. Stay sharp out there. We'll keep in touch and just keep mixing it up, right, man. That's what's up, brother. All right. I'll see you on the next one, brother. Later. Ladies and gentlemen, that was fantastic, man. Daniel Shaw, he's awesome. And it's great to be able to just like mix it up with him and trade some paint with him here for the last few hours. Hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. Check out the Executive Protection Lifestyle website, executiveprotectionlifestyle.com, and get in and support the podcast with our Patreon site, man. You'll see a link on the website. Actually, it's on the homepage to support the podcast. And that stuff just goes straight towards me being able to do this, me being able to get guys on, me being able to get guys like Daniel Shaw to come out and do trainings for us, events we're looking at putting together, and just pushing this brand forward, making the world and the private security industry a better place. So get in there and, do what you can to push this kind of movement forward, man. So men and women, so nonetheless, much love, stay sharp out there. And remember, one mind, many weapons. You want to be good at private security. You want to be good at protection. It's more than just a job. It's a lifestyle. Until the next podcast, this is Byron Rodgers, out. Boom. And to support this podcast, go to executiveprotectionlifestyle.com and contribute to our Patreon account. That Patreon account is what helps me make this podcast possible, contributing to this brand, what we're doing here, making it so that I can bring better guests on, making it so that we can plan more events and just expand the contribution to the private security industry, and also to making America a safer place by teaching people how to protect themselves and the mindset behind that, the lifestyle behind that. You guys are already killing it. $1 a month, $5 a month, $10 a month, $20 a month, whatever you can do that you would probably just lose in the mattress anyway or spend on McDonald's. Hey, you want to put it towards something that's going to good use, put it towards a podcast, and get involved in our Patreon account at executiveprotectionlifestyle.com. And if you want to find me, that's byronrodgersmotivation.com. Do whatever you can, contribute whatever you can to that Patreon account, because it makes all of these things possible, ladies and gentlemen. So much love. Thank you, and thank you for making those contributions. You guys rock. We're already doing amazing there, and it's just because of you guys. So thanks once again for those contributions. Boom. And no podcast would be complete without a word to my sponsors, the companies that believe in me and that give us the opportunity to get cool stuff at a discount. So Rogue American Apparel, awesome American clothing. Check them out. The second you see their gear, you'll know what I'm talking about. Sidekick mounts, all the cool videos you see me making with first-person shooter stuff, videos with cameras mounted on my weapon and all this other fun trash. Check them out. Primary weapon systems, simply the best rifles that are being made right now. It really is the evolution of it's the evolution of guns and the evolution of rifles. Check them out. They make the best rifles, hands down, because of their piston system. There's a science behind it. Check them out. Gray Man Suit Company, all the different, we've all had the idea of like, man, why does executive protection, why are we doing these suits? We can't move, it's hot, it's terrible. They make suits for what we do, with the stretch where you need it, with the reinforcement in the suits where you need it, where the pockets in the suits where you need it. Duke Defense, all the different accessories that you need to make your rifle manipulations and everything, and also your pistol stuff faster. Duke Defense, check them out. All these companies have given me a code. Use my name, Byron, B-Y-R-O-N, for 10% off. Byron, B-Y-R-O-N, at checkout, online, on their websites, for 10% off. Boom. I hope you guys enjoyed that episode of Executive Protection Lifestyle Podcast. This whole entire thing actually just started off as a Facebook group that blew up and is one of the fastest growing, if not the fastest growing, executive protection Facebook group online. So if you haven't joined the Facebook group, join the Facebook group. Follow us on Instagram and check us out at executiveprotectionlifestyle.com. If you want to find me, that's byronrodgersmotivation.com, and I'm on all the social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook as well. So until the next podcast, y'all, stay sharp out there, and as I say it, one mind, many weapons. Talk soon. Out.